south, but it'll give up about 53rd south, and it'll be smooth from there until you get downtown, and then of course you have those delays between the I-80 merge and the West Temple exit. Otherwise, the 201 is a little bit lighter. We are still seeing some of those delays between the Bangalore Highway and the I-15 corridor, but nothing all that bad. Andy?
Well, South 15, we still have that really slow stretch between Farmington and Centerville. It seems worse on Legacy now than on I-15, though there is stop and go on both roads. The West Davis corridor delays are almost completely clear now. You're only backed up right before you merge onto Legacy. And we've still got foothill slowdowns from the 215 exit all the way to 17th South, and then another batch between 13th South and Sunnyside.
We had some crazy storms over the weekend. We've got another chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon. It's about a 30% chance, a high today of 93 degrees, and we'll stay in the mid-90s for most of the week. Right now, it's 77 degrees downtown. Inside Sources coming up next on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, kids in the Weber School District are headed back to school today, and students will have a new opportunity to get hands-on career training this year through their new Catalyst campus. It's a program where kids can learn about various careers thanks to the help of local businesses. Dr. Rod Belknap, District's Career and Technical Education Director.
What we're trying to do more of is connect students to industry, real-world projects, where they get an opportunity to work with industry partners on these projects that industry partners are currently working on.
The district is planning to break ground on a new campus next month and hope to have it fully up and running in the next couple of years. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The trade war between the U.S. and Canada is escalating after negotiations collapsed in the final hour. ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott reports from Washington.
Canada will impose a 50% tariff on U.S. goods, everything from steel and dairy and clothes to plywood, alcohol, and electronics.
We're a small family-owned business.
Michael Howard owns a custom furniture shop in Warren, Michigan.
We just can't absorb that impact of cost, so we have to pass it down to our customers and essentially give them the decision like, are you okay with moving forward on this project with this dramatically increased cost of lumber?
The trade war only adding to the economic uncertainty.
Starting September 8th, Canada will impose a 50% tariff on U.S. goods. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 118 points to 53,396. The NASDAQ down 167 points to 26,012. Coming up, more rain today, tomorrow. High temperatures towards the middle of the week. KSL Weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Looking to transform your kitchen or bathroom? Discover the difference at AMC Building Materials. New arrivals are here. Explore the latest shaker-style cabinets, sleek European-style flat panel cabinets, and beautiful new quartz countertops in today's most popular colors. With a 25,000 square foot showroom and a warehouse in Salt Lake City, AMC keeps a wide selection of the most popular cabinets and countertops in stock. So many in-stock cabinet styles are available for same-day purchase and pickup, making it easy to start your project right away. Enjoy factory direct pricing, free design, free in-home measurements, and expert installation. Most remodeling projects are completed in as little as 10 days. Visit the AMC Building Materials Showroom at 3678 South 700 West or schedule your free estimate today at amckitchensaltlakecity.com. AMC Building Materials. Come see the difference today.
Are you a local business tired of juggling deliveries, managing drivers, or sending valuable employees across town? There's a better way. Pigeon Ship. For more than 10 years, Pigeon Ship has provided fast, reliable, same-day and next-day delivery services for businesses throughout Utah. Whether you need a few deliveries a day or hundreds, Pigeon Ship has the network, technology, and experience to get it done on time. Auto parts, plumbing supplies, electrical components, pharmacy deliveries, and more. Utah's most successful businesses trust Pigeon Ship to keep their operations moving. Stop the stress of hiring drivers. Stop pulling employees away from their real jobs. And stop worrying about whether your deliveries will arrive on time. Join the thousands of businesses that rely on Pigeon Ship every day for dependable local delivery solutions. Visit pigeonship.com today to schedule a call and see how quickly Pigeon Ship can streamline your delivery operations. Pigeon Ship. Avoid the trip. Pigeon Ship. That's pigeonship.com. Pigeonship.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bones.
Still seeing delays northbound I-15 from 7200 south up to the south interchange. Those are easing up. Where it's not easing up is northbound I-15 from 3300 south up to 13th south. And that's due to a crash that's on the on-ramp to 9th south. It looks like they are blocking a right lane there and adding to those delays. South 15, a little slow from the north interchange down to Warm Springs Road, but heavier in Farmington going down toward Parish Lane 400 north. Also, Legacy Highway still slow in that stretch from Farmington down to Centerville. Eastbound on SR 193 seeing some very slow traffic as you approach I-15 in Clearfield High. Looking for a new ride? Doug Smith offers great savings on new and used vehicles. Big selection, great prices, and great people. Visit us in American Fork, Spanish Fork, Linden, or at heydoug.net. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast for today, partly cloudy with highs in the 90s, reaching for a high of 93 of the forecast right now. We'll continue to see scattered thunderstorms this afternoon and evening along the Wasatch Front. Right now it's partly cloudy and 77 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, ksl.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Utah Fire Watch.
You know, Holly, I don't even know how authorities keep up anymore, but we have dozens of new fires across the state this weekend, closing canyons and highways, resulting in several evacuations.
Look, just since Friday morning at about this time, there have been 55 new fires in Utah. That brings our total fires for the year thus far to 948. About half of those have been caused by people.
Hard to imagine 55 just since Friday. I mean, that's an astronomical number.
I get my information from Utah Fire Info, so I include it in the newsletter, and I was just shocked. I had to literally do the math to make sure I wasn't imagining things.
Boy, and another problem we have is just to our neighbor to the west, Nevada, near Reno. The Hawk Fire also sparked over the weekend, and it's already resulted in the evacuation of over 90,000 people. I think it's got 1,500 acres or 15,000 acres burned so far. And that's one that they're claiming now was deliberately set.
Which is different than accidentally set by a human. Right. Just that it's just really like it's shocking that it's. I guess when you're close to a population center, but over 90,000 people evacuating is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned in the break, where do you put all those people?
Yeah, where do they all go? Hopefully they have friends and family. Well, here's ABC's Melissa Aiden. She is in Reno this morning with more.
This morning, a wildfire emergency in Nevada, forcing nearly 100,000 people to evacuate. Looks like lava. The Hawk Fire growing to over 15,000 acres, burning north of Reno, destroying homes, knocking out power to about 10,000 people.
Life safety first, property second. Everything that we're doing is centered on protecting lives.
With 0% containment, firefighters battling the blaze from the ground and the air. The fire started around noon on Saturday, exploding in size. Flames fueled by dry and windy conditions jumping US 395. Parts of the highway closed in both directions, injuring 6 people, including 3 firefighters. Officials saying the Hawk fire may have been purposely set. An investigation is underway.
Our weather conditions continue to be challenging, hot, dry, windy, and no end in sight anytime soon.
Flames burning close to the city's densely populated foothills. Neighborhoods left looking apocalyptic, buildings reduced to rubble.
Tons and tons of children.
Families filling up shelters, one little girl still wearing her cheerleading uniform.
The fire sweeping over our head, and so we're like, we got to get out of here.
Jason Davis telling us how he made it out.
It kind of just felt like an end of the world scene.
And Holly, we are seeing that as of 5:30 this morning, so not that long ago, it was 0% contained. Like you said, over 90,000 people evacuated and over 15,000 acres burned.
I'm looking at the Reno Gazette-Journal this morning. I mean, they are keeping people really informed, but classes are canceled in their schools this year. They've got a community meeting set for 7 o'clock tonight. But I think it was interesting that they're calling it apocalyptic, even the reporter, and then, of course, the members of the public that have had to evacuate. I mean, again, 90,000 people is a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's growing 0% contained. I mean, that's got to be just frightening for those people there, and close to a huge. Now that's a big, at least a bigger metropolitan area than we've seen some of the other fires.
Spokane, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spokane, about the same size, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's why you have such a huge evacuation for a relatively small area. I mean, 15,000 acres is huge.
All considering, right?
Right. Yeah.
All things considered. Yeah. It's again, as the reporter mentioned, they think that it not only was it human caused, but deliberately set. And I don't understand that, right? I mean, it's just they've already had 6 injuries, 3 civilians, 3 first responders. Structures have already been burned. And there's about 800 personnel working on the fire, but there's going to be more than that.
Yeah, and every weekend we have a discussion about this, and it's causing a lot of concern. There's actually a poll that came out. It looks like the Deseret News did a poll of how people feel about the fire, and Utahns, as you might expect, very, very concerned about the fire danger right now.
Wildfire season, for sure. Yeah, so this poll, in fact, this might be the first poll that I've seen the Deseret News and Hinckley Institute do that has a 0 response in any category, and it was the category of not concerned at all, 0. There's 93% of Utahns are concerned.
You would expect somebody would just say that just to play. That makes you actually appreciate the accuracy of it.
1% says they don't know, but 93% are concerned about Utah's wildfire season. And this poll did more than just ask, are you concerned? They also asked, has the wildfire or poor air quality this summer, has it impacted your household? And 60% say yes, they've stayed indoors more. That was part of it. 43% said they experienced health problems, including coughing, burning eyes, trouble breathing, right? That's almost half of people in Utah.
So we're approaching record fires. We are probably fairly close to record heat. I assume our July numbers are going to be pretty scary. And we're getting into record drought. I mean, if you look at the level of Lake Powell right now, it is at a record. And the Great Salt Lake's probably not far behind. I mean, what a bizarre time right now that we're living. This summer has really been a problem.
It's been hot and dry. And I'll say this. We had lightning down in our neck of the woods. Well, actually, probably the last several days. On Saturday, we got a downpour, but it lasted like 10 minutes. Yesterday, we had a lot of lightning and wind and no rain. So I think that's one thing. Like I told my daughter, I said, I'm worried about fires.
Yeah, we had thunderstorms Friday night, Saturday night, and last night. They produced various amounts of rain. Saturday night, we had a downpour but it was like 45 seconds, but it was crazy rain. Whatever flew through there was, I mean, the dogs were scared to death, and I could just hear it. You when the rain's pounding so hard, but it didn't last very long.
So I just want to go back to the poll for just a second because they also asked respondents what they thought, what they would support to deter human-caused fires. So 73% said they supported increased penalties or fines for those who violate fire safety laws. So that's not even out there deliberately setting, but you're lighting off fireworks when it's illegal, etc. 63% say they need more resources for forests and public lands. 63% said more restrictions on high-risk activities. Yeah. So, I mean, people are out there saying, look, we think there's more that we can do to help cut down on the number of these fires.
Yeah, well, let's hope that, that we either get some rain, some cooling temperatures, or some more common sense for some people.
All of the above.
Yeah, all of the above, yeah. So coming up next on Inside Sources, speaking of fires.
I spent 3.5 years there, made a lot of memories. Like, that was my home. This was our home, so we need to show people that our lives are actually affected and we don't have a place to live anymore.
It has been nearly 1 month since that devastating apartment complex fire in Midvale, and residents displaced by the damage say they're still waiting for answers on their future. I want to have a conversation about that and some legal issues surrounding this whole thing when we return.
There's something special about jewelry with a story. September 11th and 12th, join Duke's Jewelers for the Estate Jewelry Showcase. 2 days featuring an incredible selection of previously loved, one-of-a-kind jewelry. Discover vintage and estate rings, diamonds, gemstones, unique designs and pieces you simply won't find anywhere else. And because estate jewelry has already lived a life before it finds you, it can also be an incredible way to find exceptional jewelry at a great value. Whether you love the charm of vintage jewelry, you're searching for something completely unique, or just love the thrill of finding the perfect piece, this is an event you won't want to miss. The Duke's Jewelers Estate Jewelry Showcase, September 11th and 12th at Duke's Jewelers in Springville. Come find a piece with a past and make it part of your story. Duke's Jewelers, 4 generations, nearly 8 decades, and jewelry worth remembering.
Most families get their financial advice in pieces. A financial advisor here, a CPA there, an estate attorney somewhere else. Everyone means well, but nobody's talking to each other, and those gaps can work against you. Trajan Wealth's family office brings wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning together, not as separate conversations, but as one coordinated system built around your life, your goals, and the people who matter most. Ours is a true family office, not one that refers you out because it's convenient. This kind of dedicated collaboration used to require a 7-figure net worth, but here's the game changer. Trajan kicked that door open. Trajan advisors are fiduciaries, always obligated, always honored to act in your best interest. Unlock your Trajan family office at TrajanWealth.com or call 1-855-TRAJAN-1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. And I was thinking the other day, Monty, that every water softener I've ever seen has a giant tank that holds bags and bags of water softener salt. Well, except one, the one I have in my home. And I picture this, my Connecticut has the little salt tank about the size of a paper shredder or a small trash can.
Well, Doug, that's because the Connecticut water softeners use so much less salt, an average of 70% less than other water softeners. So you don't need a tank that holds 6 or 8 bags of salt.
I love the fact that it's so easy to fill because I don't have to lift those bags up so high, and it seems like those bags of salt, well, they're getting heavier every year.
Yes, it does. When you're using 1 bag of salt for every 3 a regular water softener uses, there's no need for a large salt tank.
Tired of lifting those heavy salt bags to fill your giant water softener salt tank? Go to softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I move mountains for a living. Literally.
That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place.
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
Where survival.
It's dark now. I have nothing.
Is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion and that of the sheriff is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
The new Inside Sources.
It's been a frustrating process. A lot of things that they should have told us that we weren't told, like a lot of units were looted in the 5 days before we could get in, and those people lost really important things, and they were heartbroken by the fire, and then have to go back in, and they're heartbroken again when they see their place, and then they're heartbroken a third time when their passports are missing and their valuables and jewelry are gone, and it's just devastating to see that, and to know that someone knew about it and didn't tell us is really, really hard to handle.
I mean, that really is devastating. So displaced residents of the North Union Apartments in Midvale, they continue to search for answers and direction nearly a month since a massive fire all but destroyed the complex. Big question still remaining, is insurance going to cover their lost items?
Yeah, and residents like Jeremy Seeley, who we just listened to, were no longer just talking about fire damage, but now they're talking, Holly, about theft. And throughout it all, multiple residents who spoke with KSL say they're still being left in the dark on what's happening.
Yeah, for many of those people, their lives and their futures are in limbo right now. It's so frustrating and heartbreaking. I feel for them. It's a really tough place to be in.
So this is a fire that occurred at a Midvale apartment complex. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks. Of course, we learned right after it occurred that there was one problem that we were made aware of, and that was that many of the tenants were being assessed something that the landlord was calling
renter's
insurance, and they were paying a premium, they thought, during that time. And after the fire, of course, they're like, oh boy, glad we have insurance. And the landlord's like, well, that insurance was for me in case you as tenants caused damage, which I need. And I don't know whether that's true. We haven't heard from the landlord or his counsel what exactly that was about. But the tenants learned that they didn't have what we
typically consider.
Yeah, considered to be tenants insurance. So they're not probably covered at all. Now, this is a separate issue. Obviously, you can't go back into the complex, so they're excluded. They're precluded from going into their place. They finally are allowed back in, and they find out that they're not the only people that have been there. Looters have been there. People have lost valuable property, passports, things like that. So there was no security, or at least there was
apparently.
What security there wasn't very effective. So people have been going back in and looting their place. I mean, talk about, this is a triple whammy. You get burned.
It's a kick in the gut, man.
You learn that your insurance may not be there, and your valuables are stolen while you're not allowed to get back in your place.
So I wanted to ask you from an attorney's perspective, and I don't even know if they filed lawsuit, but this sounds to me like it's a lawsuit.
So, I think it could be, and I think maybe it should be. I'm not advising anyone. I would expect that the landlord would step up to the plate and say, okay, let's try to make something right here. And maybe they have. I don't know what the landlords are doing. But otherwise, you invite a lawsuit. Now, the insurance issue is one problem. Mm-hmm. The looting issue is another. And to what extent the landlord has culpability for either of those remains to be seen. And I don't know the details of either one. But on its face, Holly, those look to be situations where the landlord has at least some exposure. And I'm not telling anybody to file a lawsuit. I'm saying y'all ought to get together, and landlords should say, okay, I will make this right somehow. I mean, the landlord is suffering too. I mean, they've lost, but I assume they
probably
did have
had insurance.
Very good insurance, right?
So I think that lack of transparency, right? I mean, one of the residents who lived on the 4th floor. So my understanding is people who lived on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor have been able to go back in, but there was the 5 days, and so they know that some of their things were stolen. But people on the 4th floor still haven't been able to go back in, and it's been, as you said, 3.5 weeks. It was July 31st that it happened. So one of the things that they're asking for is openness and transparency. And they also said, look, there hasn't been a single email. But by the way, that's the only way the owner's communicating is via email. They're not talking publicly. They're just sending them an email, right? But there hasn't been anything that said, gosh, we are so sorry that this happened, right? And the latest, that, as far as I understand it, is that a fire started in an attic, like up there on the top, and so they have the whole 4th floor shut off. But I don't know. I mean, I have to ask now, are those 4th floor residents going to see that their apartments were totally ransacked?
So I think people do themselves a disservice, and maybe attorneys do their clients a disservice when they say, don't apologize, because that's seen as an admission. This is just me. I don't think it is. I think I'm sorry for what happened here. Let's sit down and see what we can do to fix it is a great thing to do. And it's not I'm sorry, I messed up. This is all my fault.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem that you get. I mean, even after traffic accidents and things like that, people are like, oh, don't apologize. Like, why not? I mean, I'm sorry.
It makes such a difference.
I'm sorry this happened. Of course you are. Both sides are sorry it happened. They're not sorry that they're at fault. Anyway, the landlord would do him or herself or their self so much benefit by saying, hey, we're working on this. We've got our people on it, and we're going to do what we can to make this right, instead of you'll get an email from us, maybe.
I know.
Like, come on.
So that same Jeremy Seeley that we heard from, where he talked about the missing items, he said he said this: we should be in the meetings with the safety personnel, with the city, with the inspectors. They're not allowing us to come in. We've asked to come. We want to be there so we can have firsthand information about what's going on. Not even yes, they would like to be back on the 4th floor looking at their apartments, but they'd also like to be part of the process.
Yeah. And, when you talk about looting and vandalism and that type of thing, of course, the landlord can't sit there all the time, but it would be, and you got to look at a cost-benefit analysis. How much would it have cost a landlord to have a private
hire
patrol?
security.
Yeah. Or put up a perimeter.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And in terms of what was taken, $100,000 worth of properties taken, and it could have cost $5,000 to have a security guard there for a week. I don't know. That seems to be a fairly easy solution. I'm not saying either of those numbers are accurate. I'm just saying that you have to look at those things and decide what makes the most sense if you're a landlord. And because the tenants, they just want to get back in, and they can't. They're stuck. Their hands are tied.
That's right.
And so it's not the tenant's fault that their place gets looted. I mean, they can't hold sack on it.
Look, I didn't even know that was a thing until we had our house fire, and we had people come in and take stuff. We had people rifle through my son's room and take his coin collection, and I'm like, okay, what the freak?
Yeah.
You just displaced an entire family. The whole house almost came down. It smells really bad like smoke, and somebody's going in and going through our stuff. That really felt like a violation. I will say that.
And it's almost like an invitation. Oh, there's this place. Nobody can go in. Maybe we should treat it as abandoned, and whatever's there is free for the pickings. But that's not the way it is.
Well, not legally.
People don't just leave all their stuff like, okay, it's free for all. I mean, and people who are otherwise probably fairly honest just take advantage of a situation and go like this situation with you. Somebody just decides, oh, their house has been burned. Let's go see
and
what's
they're
there.
not there, so let me go check it out.
It's obvious they're not there. Let's go check it out.
Yeah. So from, I guess, from an ongoing legal perspective, right now there's no lawsuits underway. I wonder if these residents, if that's their next step. And I wonder also, I mean, you've mentioned the property owner. What about the city? Could the city maybe have put extra security there? Or, I mean, they're probably not open to a lawsuit, but...
Yeah, I mean, they probably have some level of immunity. I always hesitate to blame the government. Could they have had certainly a police presence, whatever, there? Probably. The landlord probably could have called. Somebody could have done something. I don't think that I would blame the city to assume the worst and so put a police presence on everything. Although if the landlord called and said, "Hey, we need some help. This place is not going to be watched," you think you could just have one of your people just drive by it every half an hour? It might make sense. I don't know whether that occurred or not. This landlord may be a very fine person or persons. They just need to step up to the plate and try to make this right.
All right. Next on Inside Sources, a record $13.7 billion. That's how much visitors added to Utah's economy last year. So as the summer wraps up and we start looking towards a different kind of visitor for ski season, I want to talk about the overall impact tourism is having on our state. That conversation is coming up next.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, the Bureau of Land Management is looking to lease land in Carbon County to be used for oil and gas drilling. KSL News Radio's Spencer Mahan spoke with BLM and has the story.
The parcel of land lies on the eastern edge of the Manti La Sal National Forest north of Huntington. BLM says they completed scoping that area last month. The public comment will help BLM complete their review of the parcel, and they say leasing the land is the first step to developing federal oil and gas resources.
Public comment is open until September 21st. The state is hoping that water rights owners will help boost the levels of the Great Salt Lake and Lake Powell. State Engineer Teresa Wilhelmsen says a bill allowing for the state to lease water went into effect in May.
There's a water right owner and they want to idle their use or kind of lease their water to be used to shepherd it to the Great Salt Lake. This type of application can be used to do that.
The water rights owners benefit by making sure they don't lose the privilege by using it. Also, they could be paid for the right. So far, only 2 applications have been filed. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Trump administration is set to unveil what it's calling an economic D-Day against Iran. It promises the economic penalties will be the toughest in history in hopes of triggering an end to the nearly 6-month-old war. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 72 points to 53,349. The NASDAQ down on the day so far, 191 points to 25,988. Coming up, weather looking more thunderstorms today and tonight, and then it'll dry out a little bit over the next few days. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Your business isn't just a balance sheet. It's the late nights, the bold bets, the people counting on you to get it right. At UMB Bank, they've stood beside businesses like yours since 1913, not just as a bank, but as a team who understands what's at stake. Because real banking isn't just transactions, it's trust. It's a relationship built to last. Visit UMB.com. UMB.com. Bank deposit products provided by UMB Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Utah's Wild New Adventure is a gauntlet of steel, stone, and guts. Would you step out over the open air with nothing but your gear between you and the drop?
Do a lot of people bite off more than they can shoot?
I would say maybe 80% of people do. People don't understand. It is massive.
What you need to know before you clip in.
Where am I even stepping? Holy cow.
Harnessing Adventure. Vernal's Via Ferrata, tonight at 10 on KSL 5.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-330-8323 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-330-8323. That's 800-330-8323. What do you have to lose? Call 800-330-8323. Again, 800-330-8323.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at uccu.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
Still just a little slow on I-15 northbound approaching 13 South and southbound near Warm Springs Road, but those delays are quickly working their way out. Also a little slow southbound I-215 approaching I-80 on the west belt as you are near the airport. And we do have a crash on southbound I-15 in Utah County near 800 North. They are in the right shoulder and not causing any delays there. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, partly cloudy with highs in the 90s, a high of 93 expected. We'll continue to see scattered thunderstorms this afternoon and evening on the Wasatch Front. Right now, it's mostly cloudy and 81 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at ksl.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, here's some good news. Despite some real challenges for Utah's tourism economy, visitor spending was actually up in 2025, 0.6% increase from 2024. That's even accounting for inflation.
And with that increase, the state's economy saw $13.7 billion from tourism. That comes even with the big drops in visits from China and Canada, and fewer visits to state and national parks, and a slight decrease in passengers flying through Salt Lake City International Airport.
So you have to wonder what's actually driving this spending up in our state, and what kind of effect does it have on our overall economy? How does it help those of us who live here?
So we're joined today by Nick Thuriot, Communications Director at the Kim C. Gardner Policy Institute. They just released a new report on Utah's tourism economy. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Uh-oh. Can I hear
Greg,
you?
Holly, good
there
to be
we go.
with you.
So tell us about this tourism spending in Utah, because I personally
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, nope.
Just a little bit of a
Can
delay.
you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. There's
Now
a
we
tiny
can.
bit of delay, Nick.
Okay.
Oh, I apologize.
I wonder if you can tell us about this spending, because I would have anticipated a drop.
Right. Well, the big picture, Holly, is that Utah tourism had a strong year, but it was a different kind of strong year. And after several years of extraordinary post-pandemic growth, 2025 looked more like a normalization year, which is the year that this report covers. So some measures of visitation did soften, but the economic value of tourism remained remarkably strong. You mentioned the $13.7 billion visitor spending in Utah. That's up slightly with inflation, and that tells us that tourism, bottom line, is still a major economic engine for the state.
Nick, I know there's a lot more to tourism than the skiing and our parks, but do we know whether or not those two parts of the tourism industry were up? The ski, I think skier numbers were pretty good last year, notwithstanding the bad snow, and our parks probably saw an increase, notwithstanding the fact that we've got people from China and Canada who are coming less and less. But what part of it was more brought those numbers up?
Yeah, so there are some mixed kind of data points there. The tourism story isn't simply up or down; it is mixed, and visitation did decline in several important areas, but spending and employment remain strong. So that suggests Utah may be moving from a period of explosive growth post-COVID-19 pandemic into a more stable tourism environment. And fewer visitors, you mentioned, doesn't necessarily mean less economic activity. That's one of the most interesting findings in this study. Utah saw declines in park visitations, airport passengers, and skier days, but visitor spending still reached a record level. So people are spending more in the state. And you mentioned the ski season. The ski numbers are dramatic, to say the least, given the last ski season we had. But there's an important explanation to that. Utah recorded 4.8 million skier days in the 2025 to 2026 season. Now that's down over 25%, 26.5%. But the state also experienced its lowest snowfall on record. So weather played a major role in this, of course, as we all saw. Anyone who was here last winter saw this. And even with fewer skier days, spending per skier reached spending per skier who came to state time high of $392. So it's a little more complicated, a little more nuanced, but overall kind of a still strong. We're seeing still some strong indicators for the ski industry.
I wonder if you have any prognostications for this coming year. So now that we're almost 2/3 at least of the way through 2026, and we've seen a lot of uncertainty with gas prices, et cetera. Are we seeing impacts already, or will we not know that for a while?
Yeah, too soon to tell, I think, with regards to gas prices or other kind of immediate fluctuating economic indicators that you see in the economy. I will mention, of course, I'm not an economist. I simply relay what our smarter folks are saying. But that is what can be expected and what it means for 2026. We are seeing a softening, but the outlook does remain positive, though it doesn't. We shouldn't expect, I don't think, another tourism boom. The report points to moderate growth rather than a period of explosive expansion, again, like we saw after the pandemic. But travelers are increasingly looking for value, shorter trips, off-peak opportunities. So Utah does have an opportunity to focus on quality as much as quantity. And the next phase of tourism may be less about simply attracting more visitors and more about attracting visitors who stay longer, spend more, contribute to communities across the state. And I think the big challenge, it's kind of a good challenge to have, is Utah managing its great success in this industry. Utah tourism brings jobs, spending and tax revenue. And of course, heavy visitation can also put pressure on housing, infrastructure, public services, et cetera. But the report emphasizes, and again, the great work done by our senior tourism analyst, Jennifer Lever, on this report, the report does emphasize the importance of strategic planning and visitor management in the year ahead as Utah does continue to grow.
Yeah, you mentioned jobs, and earlier, Nick, you talked about employment, and you indicated that was another factor that was up in 2025. I think what you said was spending and employment were up. Does that mean we provided more jobs for people in the tourism industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Tourism is about a lot more than vacations to the state. Travel and tourism directly supported roughly 107,500 jobs, 107,000 give or take Utah jobs in 2025. Now, when you include the ripple effects throughout the economy, meaning jobs that are sort of an induced effect beyond those direct jobs, it supported over 167,000 jobs, the report indicates. So that's roughly 1 out of every 10 jobs in Utah, either directly or indirectly supported by this industry. And it puts real money into state and local government. Those jobs, as well as that visitor spending that we mentioned, it generated over $1.5 billion in direct and state local tax revenue last year. And we estimate nearly $3 billion, $2.7 billion when the broader economic effects are included. So when visitors spend money, the money travels through the economy, it supports those jobs. And more importantly, these jobs that we're talking about here are a statewide industry. Leisure and hospitality employment touches all 29 of Utah's counties. And many of the counties with the highest share of these jobs are getaway communities near national parks and ski resorts. We touched briefly on the national parks visitation, but overall, strong job numbers across all 29 counties. No other industry can say that.
Wow. I had just one follow-up question on airport traffic. You mentioned that traffic was down through the Salt Lake City International Airport. I mean, it's probably not included, but do you know why?
Well, it's not necessarily included in the report. No, I mean, we don't measure tourism by simply counting people who come through the airport or at a national park. We combine this report, and our analysis combines spending, employment, tax, visitation, transportation data from a number of sources. The airport is one component of that. And again, I think a number of external factors can be playing a part: higher airfare as a result of higher prices, and so on. Again, these all have ripple effects throughout the economy. We can speculate, of course, but like I said, the airport figure is just one part of this this big puzzle, so to speak. And overall, it contributes to a fairly, strong, moderating, but still strong position for the tourism economy.
All right. Thanks, Nick. That was Nick Theriot, Communications Director at the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute. And Holly, I mean, that is some good news, especially in light of this statistic. Visitor spending from Canada was down 22% last year. Visitor spending from China down 23%. I mean, the Kempsey Gardner Institute did some great work, but with those two numbers down, it's amazing to me that we still saw a bump, even though it was 0.6% from 2024. That's a good sign. That means as we start getting, I don't know, with what's happening with U.S. and Canada, we're probably not going to get a big bump this year. But, the tourism industry is still very, very strong in Utah for good reason.
So there's still another piece of good news. And this is not related to their report, but Utah State Parks, not the national parks, Utah State Parks saw over 12 million visits in the fiscal year 2026, so the one that just ended on June 30th. So I just want to say Snow Canyon, Utah Raptor State Parks, biggest visitation increases over the past year.
That's great. Hey, well, coming up on Inside Sources.
This is Halloween, this is Halloween.
Instead of Halloween, what about Summerween? Pumpkin spice season is upon us.
Woo-hoo!
More Americans are expected to buy a majority of their Halloween and fall decorations before September. What about you? When are you going to buy your fall decor? Text us at 57500. We'll chat more about it.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
There's nothing better than getting outside with the people you love. And in Utah, we have endless ways to stay active and healthy outdoors. But staying healthy also means staying safe. Intermountain Health recommends that you wear the right gear, stay hydrated, protect your skin, and plan ahead before you go. Know your limits and choose activities that keep it safe and fun for everyone. Because when you make health and safety a part of every adventure, you're taking care of what matters most, your life, your health.
If you want a quick way to scan and get all the news you need to know, make sure you're subscribed to the Utah Policy newsletter. I put it together every weekday morning. You can get a comprehensive list of the top local and national stories, the stuff that really makes an impact in your daily life. Plus, there's a little bit of fun when I include a dad joke every single day. Just go to utahpolicy.com and hit the big subscribe button.
Join me on the trip of a lifetime, an 8-day enchanting Rhine River cruise, August 7th through the 14th, 2027, so a year from August, aboard the elegant Amafiora, sailing from Basel, Switzerland to Amsterdam. We will cruise through the heart of Europe, past medieval castles, vineyard-covered hillsides, and storybook villages in France, Germany, and the Netherlands. And Morris Columbus Travel planned every single detail, so we just show up and enjoy ourselves. We're talking gourmet dining, licensed local guides at every port, a Morris Columbus tour manager right there on board, and exclusive pricing with savings of thousands off brochure rates. They've reserved just 50 cabins for our group, and I will be there for Q&A sessions and just to spend time together. This is a bucket list journey for me, and I hope you'll join me. Book in one click at morriscolumbus.com/KSL or call a Morris Columbus advisor at 800-999-4646. Optional pre-cruise Switzerland and post-cruise Amsterdam tours available too. Come see Europe with me. I can't wait.
Morris Columbus.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Truck started slow. Battery might be toast.
Slow starts are the first sign of heat damage to your battery. We'll test it, no charge.
Thanks. And if it is dead?
We'll set you up with a new, fully warranted battery, some up to 5 years, and we'll recycle the old one.
Thanks for the rundown. Lead the way.
Get free battery testing, charging, and recycling at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Sleep Number's new collections are designed to adapt to the changing nature of your life and your sleep needs. Whether it's the personalized comfort of the Comfort Mode mattress, the targeted pressure relief of the Comfort Next mattress, or the Climate Collection that actively cools or warms to help you fall asleep and stay asleep.
And now, all beds are on sale during our biggest sale of the year. Save 25% on the new Comfort Next Luxe, plus free delivery on any mattress. Ends Monday, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Amanda, every business needs IT help, and sometimes you've got that guy who already works for your company who knows how to do this stuff, but sometimes you don't, or the guy who knows the IT stuff, that's not his actual job.
Right. So Les Olson IT they can be your 24/7 help desk. They can support your existing help desk. They can do advanced cybersecurity protection. Maybe just come and take a look. Are you subject to phishing or ransomware or other things? What are the cyber threats you're facing?
And you've got to make sure that your data is secure, so both cloud and data backup solutions, they can help you with that. Plus, everybody's got to use a computer. That's where hardware comes in, infrastructure support. You don't have to know all this stuff because Les Olson IT knows it.
And most of the time, they can help you fix whatever's going wrong remotely, just off your computer. Plus, of course, they have copiers and printers. They always will at the very best price.
Les Olson IT is your trusted local IT partner. They've been in business for 70 years, and they've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Find out more at lesolson.com.
Inside Sources.
But it can't be. Pumpkin spice latte is back, but it's a day early.
So pumpkin spice season is just about here if you go by Starbucks, because Starbucks kicks it off tomorrow with their pumpkin spice lattes coming back. And at the same time, more and more Americans are buying their fall and Halloween decorations early. Some of them are saying, look, we're going to be mostly sold out by September 1st.
Well, this weekend it was still above 90 degrees, almost 100 degrees. We're already talking about fall.
I know.
I don't know. What is about the fall season that has so many people excited? Maybe just cooling down.
Yes, I've always loved fall, and that's one of the big reasons is it's not nearly as hot.
Right.
So we do want to hear from you. Are you excited for fall? Are you buying fall or Halloween decorations this year? When are you buying them? Did you already buy them? Text us 57500 and join the conversation.
So a new word I've never heard before, summerween, but it makes perfect sense. Summer and Halloween. You know, you go through these seasons. We just had back to school, of course. That's passed. Now we have Halloween and this sort of summerween, people buying Halloween decor, costumes, that type of thing. And then the pumpkin spice. I don't know why we talk about that every year, but
because it's such a big deal. So I have fun facts about pumpkin spice. Now, I will say pumpkin spice was really great marketing on somebody's part because it is really just normal spices. Cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and either cloves or allspice. That's it. It's what you would put in your pumpkin pie. Well, somebody said, hey, what if we called it pumpkin spice and packaged it that way? So tomorrow, I said Starbucks is bringing back their pumpkin spice lattes. But there are so many other things. Pumpkin spice Oreos, I'm not a big fan.
No.
Pumpkin spice popcorn, pumpkin spice breakfast bars. In fact, I just bought a pumpkin spice shredded mini wheats. You name it, they've got it. Not all of it's good, but they've got it.
So I stop and grab a cup of coffee on my way in every morning, and I have never had a pumpkin spice latte. I don't really intend to. I was hoping to try one out on our producer as a guinea pig. He declined. You don't drink coffee.
No.
So I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll get one anyway and just sort of whiff it around the studio.
There's
and let everybody
pumpkin
take
spice
a smell.
hot chocolate. I drink that.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So
I'll see if they sell that.
Look, we asked our listeners to weigh in, and we've had a couple of people so far. So one of our first respondents said they will not be buying any fall or Halloween decorations because their discretionary income's been swept up by increased fuel, groceries, healthcare, etc. Another one says, I have so many Halloween decorations, I don't have space for it. So my kid told me I can't spend money on any decorations. So I acquired a 5-foot skeleton, 3 inflatables, and a huge spider, pumpkins, and more, all for free.
I love those big inflatables that they have, like at Home Depot and Lowe's. You go in there and they got this big person that's screaming at you. I've never had one, but they look kind of cool.
I totally understand this. Not sure why, but in recent years, I've seen people treat August as the start of fall and May as the start of summer. Decoration sales, even the kids' summer break have started to reflect this change.
Yeah, fall's one thing. Halloween is another. I mean, we're like over 2 months away from that.
Oh, this is a great one. This texter says, I'm a large pumpkin grower in West Haven. I've already shipped 2 semi-loads of pumpkins to a grocery chain in Idaho and getting ready to ship some pumpkins this weekend to Walmart. Hey, there you go.
Do you guys carve pumpkins?
Oh, yeah, we carve pumpkins. I don't start doing the pumpkins usually until September 1st. So right now I have sunflower decor up in my house, and then on September 1st, like basically Labor Day weekend, we'll switch to like fall leaves and pumpkins, and then October we actually go into the Halloween stuff.
I haven't even seen any of this stuff out. I mean, I know we're talking about it, but I guess I didn't go out
you
to
don't
the
go to the
retailers
stores.
Apparently not.
No, I was in Walmart over the weekend getting some school supplies, the last few things Jazzy needed, and there's like one aisle left, and part of it is taken up by Halloween. The rest of it, Halloween candy, decorations, costumes, everything. It's back to school season's over, and Halloween is going.
So when do we pivot to Thanksgiving? Sometime before Halloween,
no,
probably.
No. It goes straight from this to Christmas.
Oh,
Halloween is part of the fall decor with turkeys and pumpkins.
Okay.
But we go straight to Christmas. Yeah. All right, we've got a couple more texters. Somebody said they just picked 10 pumpkins from their garden and 10 more about ready. That is really awesome. Rick says, I'm not buying. Doug says that he loves pumpkin spice but hasn't bought decorations for many years. That's what storage bins are for. Amen to that. And this texter says, I live in Heber and I grow ornamental pumpkins on my little 1-acre plot. Holy cow, they sent us a picture. They're gorgeous. Turquoise, white, dark green, bumpy, everything. They said, I like to grow everything but plain orange pumpkins. They grew over 1,000 last year. Holy cow.
I did stop at a store this morning to get donuts, and I noticed a big sign out front that was talking about a lot of fall things. And it wasn't necessarily pumpkin spice, but they had other sort of festive things that they were advertising for.
Yeah.
I wish I should have mentioned it because now I can't remember. They just had their bakery had a bunch of things that they were.
Yeah,
really
exactly. So if you go like by the deli, the pre-packaged cookie items, those are already Halloween-y, at least pumpkin. We mentioned that a lot of people are planning on buying before we get to September, which is in 10 days? It's next Tuesday is
7 days,
September 1st. So according to a website called Retail Me Not, it's a savings site, 70% of shoppers plan to buy fall or Halloween items before September. And Home Depot expects that their giant mummies, the most popular, not mummies, the giant skeletons, Skelly 12-foot, he thinks those will be gone by Labor Day, like in 2 weeks, way before you get to Halloween.
Giant skeletons, mummies,
yeah,
flying monkeys from Wicked are already on the shelves.
Halloween is one of my daughter's favorite holidays, and she goes all out. She's getting ready to, she just like her whole house and everything is so great. I do a little bit on Halloween, but it's not my favorite holiday for sure. But I do some, and we never do anything scary or gory or gross or anything.
What day of the
like
week
that.
is it? We need to do
Oh
something.
my gosh. It is on Saturday this year.
Oh.
It
so
is a thing.
We're not going to dress up then for the show.
I will, yes, absolutely, on Friday, because that's when all the school Halloween parties will be. So I'm going to dress up. You should dress up.
Year. Right, yeah.
I know, I did. I was Day of the Dead.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, in fact, I was talking with my kids the other day saying, what should I be for Halloween this year? And they're like, I don't know, Mom. But I have a few ideas, so we'll see.
It's funny that something as simple as pumpkin spice at a coffee shop is one of the signals, one of the things that we look at is a change of season.
You know what else is we have a Kneaders that's close to our house, and they always bring back their pumpkin bread, and that's a big marker for, hey, it's fall, hooray! Yeah. So Dan texted in and said, Un Cafecito on North Temple has a pumpkin spice horchata latte. Isn't it great to live in America? So,
good, actually.
And then this texter says, my wife won't allow me to buy any more Halloween yard decorations. And then they add this, we'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing. You buy Halloween decorations, it's not like you're throwing them away. You know what I mean? Like people buy more and more.
No, you keep them.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There's a house that I pass when I go to the local Costco, and they have had the 12-foot skelly in their yard year-round. And sometimes they just add like a Christmas hat, or they add, a Halloween Easter egg or something, but they keep that 12-footer in their yard all year round.
Right. Well, that's fun. It's not a big thing at our house just because we don't have any kids. Our grandkids all live out of state, but maybe we should do it. And you know what? In our neighborhood, if we get a dozen kids that come trick-or-treating, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
I buy candy. My wife's like, why do you do that? Well, for me.
Yeah, exactly. But we used to have a lot more trick-or-treaters. Our neighborhood, our kids are all growing up, and we have a long driveway. We've just seen fewer and fewer come each year. So I'm kind of sad about that.
The hype is bigger than ever, and the retail part of it's bigger than ever, and all these pumpkin spice and things like that. But the kids actually going out, maybe not so much.
It depends on the weather too. Yeah. So if it's decently warm,
a Saturday
I know.
If it's warm, it might be.
And
a big
night. It will be right before we go back to standard time, so they get a little extra daylight.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons they kept it, by the way.
That's right.
All right. In the next hour of Inside Sources, a memorial honoring Charlie Kirk has now been scheduled at UVU, even after social media blew up at false claims that there wouldn't be a memorial. Plus, the city of Mill Creek cut down an unauthorized flock camera that faced City Hall. Legal or no? That's all coming up after news, traffic, and weather.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, the president and CEO of the Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation died over the weekend. Colin Hilton was 58 years old, serving in his position for 20 years. The organization says he dedicated his career to making sure the 2002 Winter Games legacy lived on. He also worked closely with the 2034 organizers, hoping to ensure the Games are just as successful. The Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation COO Callum Clark is taking over the position. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. It's a growing mystery in New York City. People keep getting spotted emerging from manholes around the city. We get more from ABC's Aaron Katersky.
These could be urban scavengers looking for valuables, but the city says sewers can contain numerous hazards, including noxious and potentially deadly gases, unstable surfaces, flooding risks, and confined spaces.
In the latest video to appear, 3 people exit a manhole near New York's Penn Station. Similar incidents were also reported in Brooklyn and Queens. A showdown between local firefighters and police officers is happening today at the Battle of the Badges blood drive in Provo. The goal is to collect 110 units of blood by the end of the competition. The blood drive will take place at the Provo City Library from 1 to 7 p.m. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up today, 72 points to 53,349. The NASDAQ down 191 points to 25,988. Coming up, a few more thunderstorms in the forecast for today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This is Andy Farnsworth with One Kind Act a Day's Minute of Kindness, brought to you by the Semnani Family Foundation. Salt Lake City broke records in July for having one of the hottest days the city has ever seen. The heat can come with a lot of difficulty in different people's lives as they struggle to stay cool during the day in some of the old houses in the area without air conditioning units. How can you help your neighbor beat the heat? Finding unique ways to stay cool, like a hike in the mountains or a workout class indoors, could be the solution for you. Join together in your community and watch out for your neighbors. Connect with each other despite the heat. We challenge you to beat the heat this summer with a friend. Find further resources at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
Hey, Doug, what is it that you do? 'Cause everybody's buying a car from you. Hey, Doug.
Roll into summer in a new Chevy from Doug Smith Chevy in Spanish Fork. We've got cars, trucks, and SUVs perfect for fun under the sun. Together, let's drive.
Hey, Doug.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest.
If he had dumped two, you would have thought maybe there's another one.
But now a witness, identified in the podcast, could lead investigators to Jamie Grissom. Binge Stolen Voices of Dole Valley wherever you get your podcasts and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the latest breaking news in the case.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Auto loan rates as low as 4.74% APR. Let's go back to the traffic center. Cormac Bone.
Roadways looking really good. No out of the ordinary delays. We do have a crash, though, northbound I-215's west belt just after 4700 south. They are blocking a right lane there, so do be careful as you come up through Taylorsville. But otherwise looking good. Again, no delays. Where it is slow is just in the usual places on the 201 freeway westbound approaching 8000 west in Magna with that construction, and eastbound 2100 north in Lehigh approaching 2300 west. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast. Today's high should hit 93, and there will be a few more pop-up thunderstorms this afternoon. Pretty much the same on Tuesday, and then a little warmer on Wednesday, a high of 95. Right now it's mostly cloudy and 81 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at ksl.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We're following up on something we hinted at last week. This could be another example of social media actually freaking out without having all the facts. Plans have now been released for a memorial event at Utah Valley University on the one-year anniversary of the murder assassination of political influencer Charlie Kirk.
So when the university announced that they were going to close campus on September 10th, as you mentioned, social media kind of freaked out because the memorial had not been announced. So they were claiming that UVU was just trying to ignore the event, and they were not right.
Yeah, turns out all those claims were wrong, and there is going to be an event on September 10th commemorating that one-year anniversary.
Yeah, it'll be in the UCCU Center there on campus. They're calling it the Freedom Built to Last is the event. Glenn Beck is going to come and speak at that event, and others as well, of course.
Yeah, of course. Glenn Beck is one of the nation's top-rated talk show hosts and founder of Blaze Media. Frank Turek is also speaking, a prominent Christian apologist and mentor to Charlie Kirk, and Andrew Seifer, Turning Point USA's chief field officer. Of course, there are others.
Yeah, so Turek was just a few feet from Charlie Kirk when he was shot last year. So is Caleb Chilcutt. He's TP USA's UVU chapter chair, or was at the time. He's now working with Turning Point USA.
So this is a dumb question I should know. Are they shutting down the campus for the day then? There's no school that day?
There's no school that day and no assignments can be due that day. It is a day off. But, of course, you can go on to the campus for this event.
Right.
It's just that there won't be any classes. There won't be, like, teachers can't assign you an essay due on September 10th, for example.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. I think it's probably appropriate to have some 1 year, because it affected so many students and it was such a big deal. I mean, we were just finishing our show when we were hearing about it a year ago on September 10th, and it was huge news for several days. I mean, it's still big news because the alleged killer is in court.
Oh, they still haven't even decided if he's going to have trial.
Yeah, we will decide that next week, and he will have a trial. Or at least the judge will schedule a trial.
Presumably, right?
Yeah,
presumably he will.
Right.
Yeah, so look, that event is going to happen at UVU, and you know, it's been such a thing this year. In fact, I just saw this news this morning. The Washington Post had fired a reporter last year for allegedly what she said on social media about Charlie Kirk. Well, she sued and she just got reinstated today. So interesting. But there's stuff that just are ongoing ripples, I guess, from the Charlie Kirk killing.
And you think about it, I mean, he was a big influencer. He was very controversial. He loved to go to colleges and raise heck, and and he would have debates with people. And I wasn't a fan, but I was also I appreciated his enthusiasm and the way that he got people out and the way that he encouraged conversation and talk. And so he comes to, of all places, Orem, Utah Valley University, and he's speaking, and some knucklehead climbs up on the roof of a building with a high-powered rifle and kills him. I mean, you're just like going, what is going on? I mean, and I don't blame the folks at the security at UVU. I mean, I don't know that they had reason to believe something that drastic was going to happen. But like him or not, I mean, we're I'm getting off topic a little bit here, but we should commemorate this, whether you like the messenger or not. What happened that day was so profoundly inappropriate and I was almost embarrassed for our state. I really was, to think that happened here. And if the governor's like, please tell me that didn't happen in Utah. I mean,
well, that it wasn't a Utah guy, right? And it was a Utah guy, a white Utah guy, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, at least allegedly.
Right.
He hasn't been convicted.
Yeah. So I mean, it was, and now a year later we're dealing with that, and maybe it's time to, instead of focusing on the alleged shooter, that we talk a little bit more about the victim and his message and what he was doing, and have some level of celebration for that.
So at least observation, right? And I if they fill the event center at the UCCU Event Center on UVU's campus, it holds about 8,500 people. That will be open that day. I think we have seen other stories as well that they will have increased security on campus. I'm imagining that people will want to maybe go around where Charlie was sitting last year when he was beginning to hold his event. We know that there were something like 3,500 people there in person, and that hundreds are eligible. I think 500, you told me, or we saw, eligible for victims' benefits from being impacted by the shooting that day.
Well, at least had applied. We'll see what their level of eligibility is, but you're exactly right. It was August 13th, so 11 days ago, we get this blip that said that the memorial is being canceled by the university, and people are like, what's going on? I mean,
you know what? It was a news outlet that kind of likes to stir the pot. So,
yeah.
It was a student-run thing that is very conservative, and they said, shocking news! UVU cancels. That actually was not what happened.
And you wonder why they even did that. I mean, there's some
clicks,
serious,
eyeballs. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Get some attention.
But I do know that there are sometimes people look for problems where none actually exist and jump the gun in ways that maybe if they had taken a breath, they could have found out for themselves that they were still in talks.
So I don't know what Turning Point USA is doing now. I mean, they certainly lost their feature speaker, but they seem to still be an active organization. They still seem to be going out. Erica Kirk's doing a lot for them. She's not coming, at least she's not on the agenda for that day. They've got some heavy hitters coming. Turning Point USA seems to be flourishing, notwithstanding. Maybe this is reason why it will continue, because of the fact that he was such a prominent figure.
It is interesting, and I don't know how much they're staying on college campuses or if they're going broader than that. But I know that not long after Charlie's killing, that Erica had to cancel an event because of threats that she had made to her safety. Do you remember? Yeah. We were talking about that in the spring, actually, right. Because UVU also, they ended up canceling the commencement speaker, Sharon McMahon, because the threats to her safety, and Erica also had threats to hers as well.
And so, notwithstanding that this is almost certainly going to be a very civilized and calm event, the security that UVU and the Utah County and Orem City law enforcement have to provide for this event so that you have no chance of something happening is going to be expensive. UVU has some security itself. I mean, they're just going to be out in droves and making sure that nothing happens, even though I think I don't know, nothing's impossible, but it seems unlikely somebody would do something.
There was a conversation not long after this event about the type of security we needed for outdoor events, right? How many eyes in the sky do we have? Do we use drones, right? And it changed the conversation. And sometimes it's really tragic events that make us look at situations and say, oh, I did not realize that was a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Charlie Kirk's legacy lives on. I hadn't been all that familiar with him. I thought he was controversial. Probably wouldn't have, paid money to go see or hear him. But now you read more about him, you talk more about him, and realize how there was some level of genius in the way that he was able to get people aroused and get fans out and get people to come out. And even though it was, controversial a little bit, but he certainly knew how to bring out the audiences.
Well, again, that event will happen at UVU on September 10th.
Yeah, well, when we come back after the break, ethics and Congress might seem like an oxymoron, right? Well, inside Washington, we'll get an update on an ethics reckoning facing Congress after this break.
Jeff Kaplan here, Xfinity Wi-Fi customer. I don't know how bad inflation's going to be in the months and years ahead, but I do know the inflation rate is 0 with the Xfinity Wi-Fi 5-year price lock guarantee. The most intelligent Wi-Fi that even fixes itself when there's a problem. Wi-Fi that hits every corner of your home, powered by fiber, built for speed. All of the benefits of the Xfinity network with 99.999% reliability and a 5-year price lock guarantee. Same price for 5 years, and this is important, no contracts, no commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You get everything you need. It's all included. Data, the best equipment, and the most reliable Wi-Fi. Yours within minutes, the price. Locked in for 5 years. Go to Xfinity.com or visit a store today. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
Who is Farm Bureau Financial Services? At our core, we're relationship builders. We're home and auto bundlers, life insurers, farm and ranch protectors, and retirement planners. We're neighbors, community members, and friends. We're the people you can count on now and for years to come. Find a Farm Bureau agent at fbfs.com/protect. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Walt Phillips right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Walt is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Walt's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this.
I mean, what parent isn't worried about, what am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest, a sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
And expanded Inside Sources.
A majority of Americans consistently rank Congress as having low or very low ethics. A Gallup poll from earlier this year said 71% of Americans don't rank Congress as having high ethical standards. And my question is, why that low? I would have expected that percentage to be higher.
Yeah, and I have another question. Is anyone actually surprised at that? I mean, sure, we have some great people in Congress. We have some great people in Congress here from Utah, but I would say Congress as a whole, if you look at it, is it ethical? Are they doing their job? I don't know. I would say no.
Reporting from our friends at the Deseret News says Congress may be up for a bit of an ethics reckoning. Dun, dun, dun. We have with us Cami Mondo, Deseret News congressional correspondent. Cami, thanks for joining us.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me.
I want to start with almost your very first sentence in your article. Unethical behavior is not a new phenomenon. So maybe we can start there.
Right. This, of course, is not a new thing. I mean, even Congress back in the 1960s, both the House and Senate put together these ethics committees to kind of police themselves, because this unethical behavior is not something that's new. It's usually reported. People usually get punished. But what we're seeing this Congress is just so many different lawmakers really getting cracked down on and even leaving office or dropping their reelection bids, which is something we haven't really seen in the last few decades.
Cami, do you suppose that this is because the public's had a gutful, that they're really concerned about ethics in Congress and that their constituents and others are putting pressure on them to straighten up their act?
I think it's especially becoming a problem right now with such slim margins in Congress that any one of these ethical concerns could tank a candidate, which we've seen in several of these primaries. A lot of these candidates who have ethical problems but were not stepping down lost their primaries. And so I think a lot of times too, a lot of these concerns now are sexual assault allegations that have come to light, and they normally have always been kept under wraps. The ethics committees have quietly investigated them, but more of them are coming out into the news, being reported on, and I think that's another issue that we haven't really seen before.
I think one of the examples of not actually having to pay the piper yet is Max Miller. Can you remind our listeners the scandal surrounding Representative Miller?
Absolutely. He faces several allegations from his ex-wife of domestic abuse toward her and allegedly their young daughter, which of course this broke out into the public because his ex-father-in-law, Bernie Moreno, is a senator, and that kind of spilled out into the public. But Max Miller is currently under investigation by the Ethics Committee. He filed that paperwork himself, saying that would clear his name. They've already been investigated by the FBI and there were no charges, but that's something where he's under a lot of pressure to step down, but he did not. And so we'll see in November where his race is a tightly contested race, if that's going to resonate with voters and if they will boot him or not.
And this is certainly a bipartisan issue too, isn't it, Cami? I mean, we had was his name, Plattner, the guy from Maine, who was just front and center. Everyone thought he was the greatest, and then boom, he gets an allegation.
Not the greatest.
And he just walked away. I mean, I think he got a lot of pressure, but it seems like people in that position, rather than fight and say, hey, it didn't happen, will say, okay, it didn't happen, but I'm getting out anyway.
Sure, it's certainly a bipartisan issue. We also saw Eric Swalwell, the Democrat in California, where he stepped down from the House and dropped his gubernatorial bid. And so it's definitely something that is not one party's fault over the other. And that's why you're seeing bipartisan lawmakers try to come together to reform these processes, make sure it's easier for staffers who maybe have ethical concerns for their bosses, have a way to actually report those and don't get reprimanded or, risk their careers in Washington, where it is a very small city up here. Everybody knows everybody. And so there is that, culture of fear up here as well.
I wanted actually to talk about the staffers, Cami, because you included that. And I mean, I don't have data because I haven't looked at the numbers, but it feels like a lot of the allegations come because of inappropriate conduct towards staffers. And I would say it's got to be a little scary to be a young female staffer on the Hill where you know that there's a history of ethical concerns. What kind of protections are there for staffers, and what would change with this new framework?
Right. And so the framework is still being, hashed out. They're trying to find a way that they could actually reform it in a way that would work. But essentially in Congress, there's not really a central HR department like you would at any other work. When you put these complaints in usually it's the individual offices that have to take care of these allegations themselves, which can be very scary for a young female staffer who's just starting out their career. Maybe that boss will retaliate, tell other lawmakers not to hire them. They could go straight to the ethics committee, but that of course takes a long time to investigate. Usually things don't get leaked out of there, but sometimes things just don't really change. Nobody gets held accountable. So with this new framework, they want to change that process to make sure that lawmakers are held accountable. They want to make sure that these staffers actually feel safe bringing these allegations to be investigated, make sure that their information is kept safe. And so it's just making sure that all of it is streamlined, it's quicker, and that there's actually, there's punishments for these lawmakers.
Does it seem, Cami, as though a lot of the concerns are sort of the Plattner personal ethical conduct, or the sort of George Santos fraud, you're a con, we don't believe a word you say, conduct, or maybe sort of all of the above? Where do you think the tipping point is, or where people are really mostly looking?
I think it would be all of the above, but I think with these sexual assault allegations, those are really where the tipping point is kind of stirred these younger female lawmakers. So we see Representative Anna Paulina Luna. We have these kind of lawmakers who say that this is enough. We're not going to deal with this anymore. They know what it's like to be a young female staffer living in that culture of fear. And so I think that was the tipping point. But when they do reform these ethics processes, I think they're going to want to put everything in there, because we do see a lot of lawmakers who get in trouble for ethics, where it's campaign finance or with George Santos or all that.
So I have a follow-up question with these ethics investigations and the proposed framework that's underway. What's the pushback?
Right. I think you're not going to see much pushback on the idea itself. I think there have always been some concerns about the way things are worded. We've seen some ethics legislation in the last few months that it got pushed back, but that was because ethics committee members, they want to be very careful that anything they do doesn't harm the staffers who come forward. So just the way that it's drafted is something they're going to be very careful about. I think the biggest issue, of course, as always, is just timing. Right now, they're going to be in for September, they'll be gone for October, and then we're going to know who's in control of Congress for next year. So this is a bipartisan issue. You're not going to see a lot of pushback on the framework itself, but I think just in terms of priorities and making sure that everything is exactly the way it needs to be, documentation wise, I think those are just going to be the biggest issues.
So let's talk about that, and we're running out of time, but what documentation wise, do you suppose that they get some sort of bicameral committee that says, hey, let's put some framework, something down in writing on what constitutes ethical behavior and how it's dealt with and how it's investigated? Do you think that that's something that may come of this?
I think that's exactly what will come from it. And I think that's just what they're trying to hash out exactly, is making sure they take care of everything. In some cases, whether it's ethics or other frameworks in the past, sometimes it's not always all inclusive. Sometimes they can forget some things. Maybe there's some vague wording here or there. I think they're just going to want to make sure they're very careful about what they put in there to make sure that they only have to pass it this one time. Right. They don't have to keep updating it.
So Cammie, I think I remember that there has been enough concern that somebody, but now I can't remember which organization, was asking for staffers to come forward and let, like they're trying to collect data. How common is this problem? Because it seems to be a lot more common. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I believe the House Ethics Committee itself was asking these staffers to come forward with these concerns or any allegations, especially when that trio of lawmakers earlier this year all resigned within a week of each other.
So just one quick follow-up then. Who is on the Ethics Committee right now? Is that somebody outside of Congress, or are they congressional members, or some combination?
These are the House members themselves. It's the only committee that you're going to see in Congress that is actually evenly divided by both parties to make sure there's no partisan lean there. There is also the Office of Congressional Ethics that works with the Ethics Committee. That's separate. It is still a congressional entity, but it's not lawmakers that's in charge.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us again, Cammie Mondo, Deseret News congressional correspondent.
And good for them. I mean, Congress needs to do that. Get your act together.
Well, clean your own house, right? Yep. I mean, gee whiz. All right. Coming up on Inside Sources, a flock camera appeared right outside the Mill Creek City Hall. Nobody claimed it. Mill Creek didn't put it there. Now the city's taking it down. Unauthorized flock cameras. More on that coming up next.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Kids in the Weber School District had their first day back in class this morning, and students have a new opportunity to get hands-on career training this year through a thing called Catalyst Campus. Dr. Rod Belknap is the district's Career and Technical Education Director.
What we're trying to do more of is connect students to industry, real-world projects, where they get an opportunity to work with industry partners on these projects that industry partners are currently working on.
The district is planning to break ground on a new campus next month and hope to have it fully up and running in the next couple of years. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The United States has imposed 50% tariffs on about $20 billion worth of Canadian goods after trade talks between the countries broke down. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says they will respond with a dollar-for-dollar retaliation that will start next month. Carney's strategy is to accept economic pain rather than yield to pressure from the Trump administration, which he says will protect Canadian workers in the long run. The bird refuge and nature preserve that straddles Red Butte Creek in Salt Lake City is closing for several months to allow for improvements, including updates to historic walls, bridges, and trails. The project should be complete in December. Your money at this moment, the Dow's in the positive, up 72 points to 53,349, but the NASDAQ is down 0.75%, 191 points to 25,988. Coming up, some afternoon pop-up storms expected today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Stop! If you've been waiting for the right time to get that Sundance hot tub or swim spa, this is it. Hot Tub Factory Outlet and Backyards of America have teamed up for the biggest pre-Labor Day sale ever. Savings are simply too good to miss. Ready to turn your backyard into the oasis you've always wanted? Now is the time. Choose from premium Sundance hot tubs and powerful swim spas, all deeply discounted for a limited time. Get instant rebates of up to $2,000 off MSRP on select models. Plus save 30, 40, even 50% off MSRP on select Sundance models. But don't wait. These savings won't last. Visit Hot Tub Factory Outlet today at one of our 4 convenient locations. Draper next to Cowabunga Bay. In Sandy just off 90th South. Saratoga Saratoga Springs across from Costco, and Station Park in Farmington. That's up to $2,000 in instant rebates, plus up to 50% off select models. Hurry in while supplies last. Hot Tub Factory Outlet and Backyards of America.
Progressive knows you've never met Channel 6 meteorologist Daniel Hughes, but when he says it'll be sunny, you trust him. After all, he is a weather professional who knows how to use a green screen and probably went to weather school. You never went to weather school, so you hit the farmer's market in your convertible. Turns out Daniel Hughes is not dependable. But Progressive is. So bundle your home and auto insurance and get 24/7 protection and reliable coverage. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-572-3344. That's 800-572-3344.
Out here, farming runs on credit. Every spring, we borrow from the local community bank to get crops in the ground. But proposed crypto legislation in the U.S. Senate contains a carve-out that would drain deposits out of our hometown banks, causing us to have to pay more for the credit we need to do our job. Call Senator John Curtis and tell him don't let a crypto carve-out drain credit that farmers rely on. Learn more at farmersforafairdeal.com.
Paid for by Farmers for a Fair Deal.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Let's check in again with Cormac Bone.
Looking like a really good drive. No delays on all your major freeways, just the regular slow spots. Eastbound 2100 North and Lehigh, especially at 2300 West, and eastbound Corey Ride Highway, where you get to Pioneer Crossing and Mountain View Corridor, going from Saratoga Springs into Lehigh. And, of course, the 201 freeway, especially westbound in Magna, approaching 8000 West with that construction zone. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast, 93 this afternoon with some more pop-up thunderstorms, 92 tomorrow, and then 95 on Wednesday and Thursday. Slight chance of rain today, but doesn't look like as much in the forecast for the next few days. Right now, it is cloudy and 81 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, we're learning more and more about these flock cameras. They seem to be multiplying, and sometimes without people's permission. The Salt Lake Tribune reports that an unauthorized camera recently showed up in Mill Creek, but nobody knows exactly where it came from.
So is it aliens? Probably not. But the appearance has city leaders a little worried, so they took down the camera. It was on city property. But where did it come from? They do have some theories, but I just thought that was a super interesting story. Flock cameras have been in the news, of course. And it was Mike Winder, the city manager, who realized that there was one there because people had been putting out crowdsourced maps tracking cameras. And they're like, we don't know anything about that camera. Why is it there?
Yeah, but this is odd.
I know.
They determined that it was installed in the first half of 2022.
Well, I don't see that. What I'm seeing is they don't know who put it there. Where are you seeing?
I was just looking at the article. It said they did a search
through Google Street View.
Google Street View, and they said it was first half of 2022. So it's been there for 4.5 years, and it's on city property, and nobody cared until we all started looking at these flock cameras. I guess there's some group called DFlock, like you talked about. There's to try to figure out where they are, and
That's so interesting. Yeah, that's so interesting. So Mike Winder he's been a mayor, he's been a Utah House representative, and now he's the city manager. But one of the things that they've got a couple of theories though. So it's been there for 4 years. Yeah. They've got a couple of theories. One is that a previous business owner installed the camera before the property was purchased to become part of the Mill Creek Common parking lot, or that they used to have a contract with Unified Police, although that expired a number of years ago. I'm not sure how many a number of years ago is, but that maybe it was put up when they still had a contract with Unified.
Either way, like nobody noticed this for 4 years, and what has it been showing? What's been accessed by it, and who's been.
Yeah, they said it was asleep. They said it was dead when they took it down, so I don't know. They also said, and this I thought was funny, Mike is a friend of mine, but I think I might razz him a little bit. He said, nobody has come forward to claim it. Yeah, you think? Yeah. Nobody's going to own up to it now.
Yeah. Well, and yeah. I guess it's sort of focused on the front of the city hall.
I know.
So you can see people coming in and out. I don't know that that's particularly private, but I don't know. These flock cameras, we've just existed with those. This one is 4.5 years old, and it certainly wasn't the first one installed in Utah. At least I can't imagine that it was. So flock cameras have been around for 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. Who knows? Yeah. And people haven't given them a second thought.
I know.
Until now, we're suddenly looking at them, and people are looking out for them and going, "Hey, wait a minute! There's one here in my neighborhood. Yeah. There's one in front of City Hall.
They're mapping them.
What are we going to do? What can we do about this?" Some people are putting covers over them,
or signs on the ground saying "You're on flock camera." Like, look up. So I'll say this: I have never noticed them because I don't typically look up when I'm like driving down a street, right? So. You and I have talked about this before on our show where sometimes we don't know, we just don't know that stuff is out there until it's brought to our attention, like the whole data center argument, for example. But these flock cameras, to your point, have been around for a while. I haven't noticed them, but I have started looking for them now.
Yeah, and law enforcement is trying to enact or adopt a sort of a similar type camera that they'll use to read license plates. And follow those, and so that you can, when you're driving it, they can check your license plate just randomly.
I thought they already had that.
They do, but I mean, they're increasing their technology on that. It was something that's really caused people some problem.
Well, yeah, these flock cameras. So Flock is a company, but there are other companies who do work like this. I just thought it was surprising, that nobody ever noticed. That's what I'm saying. Is you walk in, like you're not looking up to see if there's a camera mounted on the pole, right?
It kind of reminds me of what we do at our ski resorts, and it's not the same at all, but you could go online and there's a camera at the top of this mountain. You could watch the snowfall. You can access these cameras. And I'm just wondering what the capability is for someone to say, okay, there's a flock camera in, Midvale City Hall,
Mill Creek,
and you can you plug into some system and suddenly it comes up on your computer and you're just suddenly watching.
Well, if you're a good hacker.
Yeah. But otherwise, what's it for? I mean, who's able to access it?
Well, I think the part about this story is they don't know, right? They don't know who is accessing it. Mike Winder doesn't think that anybody was. He says that they're not too worried about recent data because it was dead when they took it down. But you're right. Who is accessing these things? Is it law enforcement? Is it only law enforcement? I know as we've been talking about these flock cameras, they looked up, I think it was Weber County, and something like 90+% of their requests to access the data, people looking at the data, were not Utahns. They were outside of the state of Utah.
And you wonder, on your daily commute, of course you're on the freeway for the most part, a daily drive, you do 20 miles, let's say. Mm-hmm. How many times are you being surveilled, either by your neighbor's doorbell camera, a flock camera, those cameras that are in some of our intersections that Department of Transportation, Public Safety rather, puts up, or just the private business parking lot camera of the gas station, convenience store. I mean, on your average drive, if somebody wanted to go and get the research for all the cameras, there's probably 20, 30 cameras that followed you at least some point. Not to mention your cell phone's being pinged by every tower.
My gosh.
There is this expectation of privacy that we all honor under the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution
doesn't apply in public spaces.
It doesn't apply too much when you're traveling from point A to point B on a public road.
So I've just got to tell you, I did a quick internet search. So it's all over the country. A northern Kentucky city announced that they were removing flock cameras after public outcry. Flock cameras faced growing backlash across Texas counties. There's one in Virginia that's holding a special Q&A session. And then there's this one. The Flock Safety CEO calls for national compromise amid camera sabotage and public revolt.
Right, yeah.
It's like, can we all get along?
Yeah, come on, don't start destroying all our cameras just because you don't like where they are. But if it's on public property, well, this one, I guess it wasn't public property ostensibly when it was put in place. This one that we're talking about at Mill Creek, and then Mill Creek bought the lot,
and then it became public.
And then it became the city's parking lot. And like somebody bought that lot and never bothered to look there. Hey, by the way, we just bought a camera too.
I don't know.
Like nobody's.
I don't know. We have a couple of texters. Janice asked, "Where's the data going?" They said they don't know. Like they don't know because they don't know who had the camera, who owned it, or who put it there. And then Jessica says someone in the Provo-Orem area has been putting signs below the flock cameras pointing out where they are.
I've never seen one of those, but why not?
I haven't either, but I
you have a right
understand.
to know
Yeah,
that.
if you drive down the right roads, they'll say, look up. Remember the smile you're on candid camera?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Now you just assume.
Now you're
just
being
assume.
televised all day long, following you everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's technology. It's what we do. And Big Brother, although flock cameras are not.
Remember that book, 1984? That's where we get Big Brother.
Yeah.
He did not mean it as a guidebook.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, look, so even at Capitol Hill, U.S. Capitol Hill, Bernie Sanders wants to ban the technology outright. He's independent, of course. And Tim Burchett of Tennessee, he wants to cut federal funding for local installations. And the CEO is like, hey, can we talk about balancing privacy rights and public safety? And
law enforcement,
it's not going well.
Yeah, law enforcement may like some of these. They help
I know.
them solve crimes and go get information. But
I know.
flock cameras, we'll probably be talking about those for quite a while. Well, actually, let's stick with the technology and chat about defense technology. A coalition of 150 companies right here in Utah are working together to get tech to our troops faster. We'll get some insights on that next when we come back.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Want to rep the bright side? We're giving you a chance to win a limited edition KSL Brightside t-shirt. To enter, visit ksl.com/win. We'll have you subscribe to KSL Brightside on YouTube and leave a comment on your favorite video. You could be one of the lucky winners to sport this exclusive Brightside gear. Tune in for a smart take on life, current events, and everything important to you and your family with a dose of fun. Join Ethan Millard and Alex Curie every weekday from 1 till 3 p.m. on KSL News Radio and streaming live on YouTube from noon till 1 p.m.
We know listening to us on the radio is pretty great, but you can also see us every morning if you want. Just check out the KSL News Radio live stream. We're on YouTube, the KSL News Radio app, and KSL.com every morning during our show. And if you're watching right now, hi, good morning.
After this hot summer, it's nice to begin to feel the change in the season. Some of the mornings now are cooling off. Pretty soon, we're going to have some spectacular colors up in Utah's mountains. It's time for you to get into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Hopefully, you've got all the kids taken care of back to school. It's time for a treat. Make that reservation for you and that special person to dine at one of the two Ruth's Chris Steakhouses. There's one, of course, up in Park City, and boy, when the colors change, it is sitting right in the middle of it all. And then, of course, there's downtown Salt Lake City at 275 South on West Temple. Make those reservations and anticipate that perfect meal, the perfect steak, seafood, poultry, whatever it might be, with all of those delicious side dishes and the desserts. And everybody at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse does the work for you. Make your reservations at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 25% upfront bonus? And are they promising you up to 9% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They aren't. That's up to $25,000 upfront or up to $9,000 per year on $100,000, guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Unlock your Trajan family office at TrajanWealth.com or call 1-855-TRAJAN-1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN-1.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states has Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
A place where survival,
it's dark now, I have nothing,
is never certain. In 2011, an Australian hiker vanished.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
The mountains have decided to keep him.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts.
An expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
It's being called the Integrated Warfighter Ecosystem, and it's a coalition made up of small and mid-sized businesses from around the country, all of which have something to offer to the Department of Defense.
And they all descended on Payson, Utah last Friday to celebrate the launch of this new coalition. But what is its purpose and why Utah?
So we're going to bring in KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson for more. Heather, thanks for joining us in studio today.
Yeah, of course.
Tell us about this coalition.
Okay, so like you said, it's a bunch of businesses from across the country. Some of them are from Utah. A lot of them are veteran owned. And basically what they're trying to do is get those who make technology that could be valuable to the military into the hands of the military faster. And as we may know, the wheels of bureaucracy turn slow, right? Yeah. So so they're just trying to get these cutting edge technology to the military faster. And they thought that building this coalition of businesses was going to help those businesses work together and get products to the warfighter faster. So that's what they're calling the warfighter ecosystem. They converged on this 55,000 square foot warehouse building in Payson. It's owned by Cencor, and they're kind of trying to bring all these major players together. And Governor Cox actually spoke at the event, the launch party on Friday, and so we have a clip of that, and it really summed it up pretty well.
The United States does not suffer from a shortage of brilliant people. We do not suffer from a shortage of great ideas. And we certainly do not suffer from a shortage of patriotic Americans who want to contribute and give back. Too often, our problem is connecting those things quickly enough. A startup develops something extraordinary but can't navigate the system. A warfighter identifies a need but waits years for a solution. A manufacturer could expand production but can't get the certainty that it needs. An entrepreneur has a breakthrough but can't cross the valley between prototype and deployment. Every person in this room has some ability to shorten those distances and close those gaps. Industry can collaborate more. Government can move faster. Universities can connect research to real-world missions. States can make it easier to build and invest. And all of us can remember who this system exists to serve.
So, Heather, why did they hold this in Utah? I mean, obviously, we have our share of technology-based companies, but 150 around the country, it sounds like. What was the appeal to Utah?
Yeah, well, it sounds like Sencor is kind of the main driver, and they have their headquarters in Payson, and so that's the main driver. But I mean, I think that Utah is a hub for both the tech sector and also the military. I mean, we have Hill Air Force Base, we have our National Guard unit here that they're big in the aerospace world, and Army as well. So we have a lot of major players all in one state, and so I think that they just felt like this was a natural place to put it.
So I think one of the companies that I am familiar with is I think it's a drone company, but it's Hovercraft. If I remember, Hypercraft. Sorry, yes. My bad. That one is unmanned autonomous ground vehicles, actually, and I think Utah has a pretty strong drone presence as well. It looks like the same company. Tell us, like, I totally get the bureaucratic valley of death where idea to implementation, like it's already out of date by the time you finally get there.
Right.
So how does this shorten it? Is it are they also working on changing regulation, or are they just saying, look, we're just going to all partner together? I don't understand really how this shortens it.
I think that they're trying to figure out exactly what this looks like, but this is kind of a first-time collaborative effort. But I mean, if you have manufacturers who hey, I have this part that could be valuable to you, and you have an idea that could be valuable to the military, and the military doesn't know about these ideas unless they have kind of a direct line to those major players. And so I think this opens up kind of a line of communication and also kind of a marketplace of ideas and products that you guys can collaborate on and kind of share amongst each other. So when I spoke to the CEO of Hypercraft, he talked about being able to really liaison and network with some of these other tech companies that might have some of the tech that they need to bring value to their products that would then in turn help the warfighter. So I think it's just, what do we all have to offer and how can we bring that together so that we're not normally with the defense acquisition system, they put out a notice of what they need, and then people apply, and then
you get your $600 hammer and your $8,000 toilet.
Yeah, and then they have to go back and set up the manufacturing to get them the right amount of parts, and it's just such a long process. So it's hey, we have this that might be of value to you, and it's just a more direct line of communication to work together on that.
It does seem to make sense though, Heather, when you've got 150 defense contractors, to maybe get them together and say, what are you doing, so that if there's an overlap in services or if there's some collaboration of services, that they can get together and know what, I would say the right hand and the left hand, but there are 150 hands here, are doing. Did you get the sense that the companies involved were on board with this? Because you would also expect, and I know there's a question here, I promise, that there's some, hey, we've got our technology and we want to keep it secret. We're the cutting
competition.
edge. Yeah, competition. Did you get the sense that the companies were on board?
I only talked to one of the CEOs of Hypercraft and then the CEO of Sencor, and it didn't feel like that. It did feel like we want to be part of a team. This is a very big collaborative effort, and they really seem to want to learn from each other and gather, what resources they could so they could and share and grow together. I think, like I said, there's still a little bit of uncertainty. This hasn't been done before, so they're trying to figure out what do these relationships look like. But I think that they're trying to see who has value that we can use and what value can we offer in return. It didn't seem like a very competitive nature, but I'm sure that when you're in business, there's always a little bit of that.
I'm looking at the KSL.com article about this and just drone attacks in Ukraine. And I saw an article in the New York Times just this morning that 3 people died in Ukraine last week that were run completely by AI. There were no human operators doing these drones. It was AI that told the drones to target and kill. And I don't know if there's technology being talked about in the United States. How do you counter something like that? Did anybody talk to you about counter drone technology?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the big talking points is drones. I mean, that's really changing how we view war and how this war in Iran is going and whatnot too. And so I think that we don't know what we don't know yet, right? Mm-hmm. So they're constantly trying to figure out like what's the new technology that's going to outpace what's being done now, and everyone's trying to one up each other and figure out like what can we do to combat this, and so yeah, I think that's definitely one of the conversation pieces is how do we beat drones that aren't even manned, or how do we create something even better or more efficient, so that we can, even better see those drones or whatever. So, that's definitely one of the conversation pieces is what type of technologies are going to be beneficial in this new age of war.
And the end game, of course, is that our defense community have access to this technology and that it be sort of coalesced, that everybody on the same page, so you can access this without going to 150
and
sources.
Moving quickly.
Yeah, right.
Right, yeah. You don't want to find out like, the military doesn't want access to this technology 2 years after it's created, right? They want to be on the cutting edge. And so I think that this, like they said, is going to get those ideas, that technology to the military faster, because the age of war is moving so fast and it's changing so quickly that they kind of have to be more on the cutting edge than they are right now, because back in the day, like technology was a little bit more slow to evolve, but now it's changing day to day.
Yeah, it is. All right. Thanks so much, Heather. That was Heather Peterson,
Great
KSL.
job, yeah.
Look, the changing nature of war, Heather just pointed out, it's so rapid. It's one of my concerns, right, that it always feels like now, like we're 2 steps behind whoever the bad guys are using technology for nefarious purposes. So I think this could be a great idea. And I see that they want to double the size of the people in the coalition just in the next year, up to 300.
Yeah, and I had no idea we had this CENTCOR right here in Payson, Utah, 55,000 square foot headquarters.
We learn something new every day.
Yeah, and but this makes sense. I mean, that's the problem you get with the government. You pointed it out very well, is you don't
delay bureaucracy.
Yep.
Well, coming up on Inside Sources, we're going to talk more about government, 50% tariffs on Canada, not backing down, plus economic D-Day on Iran. It's expected to be announced in the next hour. We have to talk about these stories. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top story this hour: several cities around the Wasatch Front got hammered with rain, thunder, and lightning, and forecasters say we haven't seen the last of it yet.
We saw impressive lightning and rain totals around the valleys. The Salt Lake Bees actually had to call off their game in the 4th inning yesterday after Daybreak got hit hard, and they weren't the only ones. Riverton, Harriman, Huntsville, Sandy, and Farmington all got close to a half-inch of rain just yesterday.
It was a case of the have and have-nots, and that'll be what happens today. Scattered textbook monsoon thunderstorms.
KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we will likely see most of today's storms form between about 4 and 8 o'clock this evening. He doesn't think it'll be as intense as it was yesterday, and he says we will likely see drier weather as we work our way through the week. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
In other local news, people displaced by fire in a Midvale apartment complex are demanding answers after being denied entrance into their homes for days after the fire. Tenants of the North Union complex say they were denied entrance to their homes by Keller Investment Properties, and several found out their apartments have since been burglarized.
They were heartbroken by the fire and then have to go back in, and they're heartbroken again when they see their place, and then they're heartbroken a third time when their passports are missing and their valuables and jewelry are gone.
Jeremy Seeley says it took 5 days before they were allowed to check on their belongings. The group says they want better communication with the building owner and some decision-making power when it comes to their future. They say if their demands are not met, they plan to file a lawsuit. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is up 116 points. That's 0.2%. The NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are both down. And oil is down $1.76. It's now at $85.30 a barrel. Coming up, we've got some 80 degrees days on the way, but you're going to need to be patient. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
The Source is where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Your best years aren't behind you. They're right here at Trio South Ogden. Discover independent living services that embrace aging as an opportunity to lean in, not step back. To pursue passions, not retire from purpose. Here, life is bright, colorful, and unapologetically fun. Move in, thrive on, because aging doesn't mean changing who you are. It means having more time to be exactly who you are. Schedule your tour today at triosouthodden.com.
Utah's wild new adventure is a gauntlet of steel, stone, and guts. Would you step out over the open air with nothing but your gear between you and the drop? Do a lot of people bite off more than they can chew?
I would say maybe 80% of people do. People don't understand. It is massive.
What you need to know before you clip in. Where am I even stepping? Holy cow. Harnessing Adventure. Vernal's Via Ferrata, tonight at 10 on KSL 5.
We're going to break away to a press conference currently being given by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent involving economic D-Day for Iran. We're going to break to that right now.
Than any other terrorist regime on earth. And they have been at war against America, their neighbors in the Gulf, and much of the world for 47 years. President Trump has taken action that his predecessors have long deferred. And under his leadership, America is no longer managing the Iranian threat. We are ending it. Our great armed forces have laid the groundwork for achieving the president's objective of preventing Iran from ever obtaining nuclear weapons. They have shown America's resolve to finally end this threat. And the strength of America's economy under President Trump allows us to wage this sustained financial operation alongside the might of our military. Iran now faces a very clear choice with only two paths before them: complete global isolation and a subsistence economy, or a path back to normalcy with an opportunity to rejoin the global economy. Today, we are launching Operation Economic Outcast to foreclose every other option available to the Iranian regime. Treasury has mapped every node, every facilitator, and every network that Iran has used to smuggle oil and evade sanctions. Beginning today, the actions of Treasury and other agencies will tighten the noose and block every potential source of revenue that funds the IRGC and the evil Iranian regime. We are enforcing a zero leakage approach. There will be no minimal breathing space for the regime to rebuild its capacity to inflict terror against America and the world. The final refuge of this regime is the mistaken conclusion of nations that still finance the Iranian threat in the hopes of evading it. It is no longer acceptable to operate in the gray spaces of this conflict. Countries cannot claim they are blind to enabling this activity. Iran's enablers purchase, transport its petroleum. They facilitate the flow of its finances through exchange houses and free trade zones. They welcome Iran's flights and maintain registries on its behalf. They turn a blind eye to seaborne fuel transfers and overland transits. They condone illicit use of their banks, all the while concealing the extent of their complicity. The president is making phone calls to world leaders with specific requests to cease their interactions with the regime. We are already seeing results. Over the weekend, comments from Iranian leadership clearly acknowledged the effect of this campaign, and nations that facilitate any interactions with the regime should quickly heed our message. Those who stand with the United States will reap the rewards of our partnership. Those who tether themselves to the Iranian regime should expect to share in the isolation of a withering regime. Teams from Treasury, State, and the U.S. military are now meeting with their global counterparts to tell them that the United States expects action. Every country has a defined timeline to shut down activities we have identified. If they do not take action, we will do so unilaterally through Treasury authorities. For example, every branch of Bank Melay must be shuttered and dark. And let me be clear, any entity that facilitates money laundering on behalf of Iran will be removed from the US dollar system. The clock just started ticking. The new sectoral sanctions determinations issued today target 5 of Iran's most vital lifelines that it exploits in other countries: digital assets, technology, gold, aviation, and shipping. These measures broaden secondary sanctions risk for anyone foolish enough to continue conducting business with this regime, and will accelerate the speed with which we pursue them. As I speak, Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control is also sanctioning over 60 entities, individuals, and vessels around the world that enable the Iranian regime to procure illicit nuclear and missile technology, conduct cyber operations, and generate oil revenue. This is a sustained campaign to collapse every last option for Iran. Let there be no ambiguity as to the position of the United States. An economic engagement of any kind with this murderous regime will expose those responsible to the full reach of American power. For decades, this regime has drawn strength from a calculus that regards Iranian retaliation as certain and American enforcement as negotiable. Under President Trump, that era is over. To the ordinary soldiers supporting this regime, as more and more of your paychecks stop or are supposedly just delayed, ask whether your commanders are leading your country to triumph or to ruin. And recall that the Berlin Wall fell when ordinary soldiers decided not to shoot at their own people. And to those who enable Tehran, do not discount the cost of testing Washington's resolve. No nation should expect to enjoy the rewards of our system while helping those who seek to destroy it. It is now a time for world leaders to make a decision between prosperity and isolation, peace and terror, America and Iran. The campaign we begin today will gather force with every day that follows, and it will not end until this regime stands alone. With that, I welcome your questions. David from Reuters.
Hi, thanks, Secretary. One of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal is the ability to impose secondary sanctions on banks and financial institutions that facilitate transactions for Iran. Chinese banks have often been talked about being targeted, but we don't see any of those institutions targeted here. Is that something that is coming in this campaign, or is the very delicate trade truce with China something that could prohibit you from going that far and taking that very big step?
We want to make clear here today that no one is above the reach of U.S. sanctions, that if they facilitate transactions and are part of the ecosystem that turns Iranian oil into money, into repression, they will be targeted. We find that the best way to engage with countries is through quiet diplomacy, and we are level setting with every country to tell them our expectations. We know who they are, they know who they are, so when the hammer of U.S. Treasury actions falls upon them, they will have no one to blame but themselves. So, Richard from CBS.
Well, a different approach to the war with Iran. Bombing the country has had mixed results. Closing or attempting to close the Strait of Hormuz has had mixed results. And now the Trump administration is going to take economic sanctions against Iran that includes any other country that continues to do business with them.
And that seems to be the thing that's the difference, because we've had sanctions against Iran for something like 50 years, and including increasing the pressure during this war that I think we're at 6 months or getting close to 6 months of the 3-day war. And I think that's one of the issues to really think about when Bessent says you're going to feel it. He's talking to China.
Yeah.
That's an interesting take, because I know we have this mixed adversarial relationship, but we've got Chinese president coming to talk with Trump next month. At least that's the plan, right? So we are reliant on them for a lot of the things that we purchase, and now we're saying we're going to cut you off.
Well, and vice versa. So China will be in the awkward position of deciding whether or not they want to continue to have economic ties with Iran or the United States. But apparently the Trump administration is saying you can't do both. And so if you want to do business with Iran, we're going to cut you off entirely. That's going to be easier said than done, but it certainly is a very, very interesting approach to wrapping up this war if you put Iran's economy on its knees.
But it already is there. I mean, when he said you get to choose whether you're going to have a subsistence economy or be back in the world order, they haven't been in the world economic order for years. They've been a subsistence economy. Look, I'll say this. There's Alan Iyer, a former American diplomat. He doesn't think that there's any new sanctions that are going to be effective because they've already targeted, as he said, low-hanging fruit, mid-hanging fruit, and high-hanging fruit. So what do you think Iran's response is? They've already said there will be a seismic retaliation. They didn't even know for sure what Bessent was going to say, but they're already like, yeah, right. If you do that, you're going to regret it. So
what
see
can
where
they do?
that goes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're
we know that they can attack their Gulf neighbors. We know that they can do that. They've got enough missiles. They can go after several of American allies who are Gulf states.
Right. I guess, right, in response to this, but you've got to give everybody a chance to decide what they're going to do first. I mean, if the surrounding countries say, okay, Iran, sorry, we can't do business with you anymore, and then all of a sudden they get attacked, I guess that would signal what's going on here.
So there we go.
Well,
economic D-Day.
Yeah, let's stick with the economy and talk more about these 50% tariffs between Canada and the United States. Our neighbors to the north are not backing down against President Trump. More on that after this break.
When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
Right now, UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields. Simply make a deposit, then watch your savings grow with a fixed rate of return that's much higher than a savings account. UCCU also has great offers on jump-up options. So if rates continue to rise, you can jump up your rate and earn even more. Visit uccu.com to learn more and supercharge your savings today. UCCU. Love where you bank.
I'm Walker Kessler, and I play basketball for a living. So I know how important it is to have the support of a team you can trust. That's why I love UCCU. UCCU is more than a credit union. They're a true financial partner. A local team of experts your entire family can trust at every step of your financial journey. Just visit uccu.com and elevate your banking experience.
Thinking about replacing your windows? Choose the company that builds and installs them right here in Utah. Advanced Window Products is Utah's local window and door manufacturer that sells directly to homeowners. Hi, I'm Nate Orchard, the mayor of Sac Lake City with Advanced Window Products. At Advanced Window Products, there are no dealer fees, no middleman markups, and no extra costs to cover someone else's profit. From manufacturing to installation, every step is handled by Advanced Window Products' local team. Every window is custom built in Salt Lake City for Utah's homes and backed by one of the strongest warranties in the industry, a lifetime warranty covering labor, glass, and parts. Even better, it's fully transferable to the next homeowner. Right now, get $2,000 off when you purchase 10 or more windows. Financing is available, and Dominion Energy rebates may help you save even more. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit us at advancedwindows.com. That's 801-850-9100 or advancedwindows.com.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250, micro. And yes, I told you so.
What did you set this thermostat to?
A balmy 72.
Isn't that a little warm?
I'm just tired of wearing that sweater all the time. But after 30 years of office thermostats, I'm finally in charge. Turns out the best part of retirement isn't having less to do. It's finally getting to choose. At Ovation Homes, they build homes designed for your next chapter, not your last. Ideal for homeowners that want to spend less time on upkeep and more time enjoying the things in life that matter most. Single-level living with modern finishes and low-maintenance features, designed for real life and real budgets. A fresh approach to active adult living in northern Utah. And during the Next Chapter event, you can receive $7,500 on select quick move-in homes or $10,000 on a new home build. Visit Sadie's Glen in Syracuse or online at ovationhomesutah.com. That's ovationhomesutah.com. Your best years really do start at Ovation Homes.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
The trade war with Canada. Sometimes, Greg, I feel like we just rinse and repeat our news stories that we talk about. But the trade story with Canada's ramping up again. Trade talks broke down, and so President Trump said a 50% tariff would come to certain Canadian goods.
And he's already been held to have imposed previous tariffs illegally. Who knows where this one's going to go? But Canada's not backing off. They're saying we'll put our own tariff pressure on the United States. Let's get an update on what the president is doing from ABC's Karen Travers.
50% tariff on Canadian goods coming into the United States. The White House, though, this morning, even as the president is digging in and now announcing the potential of new tariffs that he says would not go into effect until January 1st. Unclear why he would wait so long for that. We, of course, have asked the White House. But they're also downplaying the potential impact on American consumers and the American economy.
So I think one of the things, one of the reasons for implementation not happening until January 1st, gets you past the midterms.
Yeah, there you go. And how's Canada responding to this? Here's Karen Travers again.
The prime minister says that this is now a war and they're going to fire back in this trade war. They're putting their own tariffs on American goods starting on September 8th. Those will also be 50%. They say they're going to match the U.S. dollar for dollar. There's also pushback from some officials up there saying you cannot trust the president or this administration on these issues.
They are big mad in Canada.
Yeah, and I guess the people in Canada are supporting their leader, saying, we've been kicked around by the United States enough. But Trump said this: we don't need Canada. they need us when it comes to these tariffs.
So I think Canada would disagree. I've seen online there's somebody with a right-leaning news organization is like, who can even find Canada on the map anyway? And it's like, pretty much everybody from about second grade on.
Right.
They would be north of us, right? So I just think I saw in The Hill this morning, so it's thehill.com, and they report on Capitol Hill, that 76% of Canadians are like, yeah, I don't want to talk with them anymore.
Yeah, they say ending U.S. trade negotiations is the right call. In a survey, 76%. That's people that have just had a gutful of this. And I think that the whole world is just tired of tariffs. They haven't worked. They don't work. They're probably illegal. And it continues to be something that we do. I mean, economic sanctions against Iran is one thing, because what you're saying is it's not a tariff. It's just cutting off economic ties and telling other countries, you do the same or we're going to cut off ties to you.
Mm-hmm.
But then just punishing Canada, Mexico, whoever else, India, China, with tariffs to do whatever to get your best trade deal going. Just it hasn't worked so far. It's backfired virtually every single time.
So the Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, he said it'll be painful, but we have a strong, vibrant, diversified economy, right? And that's one of the things is the threats. Sometimes you have to look down the road and say, okay, if we're going to go down this path, what might that look like if Canada says, okay, fine. We're going to slap 50% tariffs on, I don't know, what do they import? Maple syrup and whiskey. I don't know. Timber, lumber is certainly one of the things.
Yep. A lot to do with the automotive industry. They do a lot for us there.
Yeah.
And they're our best partner. They're our best trading partner. They're our neighbor. They're our friend. They're our little brother. I mean, it's not, you cut him off at the knees. It makes no sense. And I understand the Canadian leaders and the populace saying we just can't keep doing this back
on the tariffs.
Right.
So look, Susan Collins, you know that she's a Republican. She's pretty moderate, pretty centrist, I guess. She is urging the administration to, quote, consider the negative impact of engaging in a trade war with Canada. She's up in a tough re-election fight, and they border, or at least they're close to the border.
And if you're in a state that has a business that's doing business with Canada, is this really something you want right now?
Yeah.
To affect that business that is trying to do work with Canada and saying, okay, you're not going to be able to export anything to Canada anymore because they're imposing these tariffs. We're going to shut down, 20% of your operation or who knows what. It doesn't make sense. I don't get it.
So it's interesting to me that Jameson Greer, he's the U.S. trade representative. He's got Utah ties. He said basically it's not going to hurt the U.S. at all. We're going to be just fine. Maybe we will if you're not building a house right now or you're not in the market for steel or aluminum, right? I mean, sometimes I do wonder what the audience is that they're speaking to when they're saying, oh, nobody will feel this.
Yeah, so we're looking at 50% tariffs of alcohol, consumer goods, industry goods, dairy, agricultural products. These are, I mean, he's right, though. A tariff war with a country that's smaller and has less of an economy and relies on American trade more is going to hurt. Whether Canada now goes to other countries, China, India,
well, Jameson Greer
Russia,
says it's not going to hurt us.
Saying we're just going to go do business with some other country,
yeah.
Open up their trade negotiations, and then maybe we shoot ourselves in the foot by doing something like this. Who knows?
Look, we've talked a lot about America First under the second Trump administration, and one of the things I think that came out of the COVID era pandemic was supply chain, near chain versus far chain. And when you are reliant on countries that are far away, for example, to get your medications, like so much of our pharmaceuticals come from China, I get that. And yet these are close. There are near partners. These are like you can literally drive across the border.
And we have so many businesses that overlap. I mean, that automotive industry in, Ontario, Detroit, those cities that are they're working together and building cars together and splitting up some of the. I mean, you can't buy a car in the United States that wasn't made partly in Canada, and vice versa. So we're just, I don't know. I'm surprised that Canada said enough's enough. Maybe I shouldn't be, but it's certainly popular with the people.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been part of the back and forth, though, for so long. It's like, okay, we're going to impose these really big tariffs. Now we're going to go to little ones. Now we're going to go back to really big ones. And like you said, maybe they're just really tired of it.
50%, though.
Yeah, on some goods, right? It's not on everything that comes across, but there are definitely goods that will be hit by this. And again, it's ones where if you need that good, you're going to feel it, right? You're going to feel it. So I do think it's interesting that today, I'm trying to figure out, because it's in my newsletter and I didn't pull it up quickly enough, but the NATO alliance was, I think it was signed on this day, but we'll talk about that when we get to the fun facts later.
What an interesting juxtaposition, if that's true, because of everything we're doing. So sanctions against Iran making sense. Sanctions against Canada and having a trade war there makes no sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's not going to play well to midterms, but I don't know that Trump is as concerned about midterms.
You know what? He's already said multiple times, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, Mark, one of our texters, says Bridge, our natural gas supplier, is Canadian. That could hurt.
Yeah. Ouch.
So,
especially with winter coming.
I know. So when we talked about tariffs earlier on Canadian goods, we were talking about like hockey sticks, and we were talking about maple syrup, and we were talking about whiskey. And for me, like, those don't bother me.
Right, yeah.
But if you're talking about lumber, and you're talking about, like, if you're doing home renovations or you're building a home, or it's downstream too. And in fact, there's a law firm, Dorsey and Whitney. They say nearly all industries and professions are likely to see downstream effects from this spiraling trade dispute. That's everybody, right? That's everybody.
And I don't even know what started it. I mean, why is it every month we're having new trade negotiations with Canada? I mean, just set something in place. It seems like you kiss and make up, and then you get away from the tariffs, and then boom, we're back again. I just don't get why we keep going down this road.
All right. Well, that was a great conversation. Up next on Inside Sources, though, I'm going to have an Ask the Attorney segment here, because a Colorado family is still dealing with issues more than 2 years after a police canine jumped a fence, attacked a 2-year-old and her dad, who were just having a birthday party in their backyard. But a jury found the deputy who handled the dog was immune from prosecution. I want to ask our attorney about this next.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top national story this hour from ABC News. Another law enforcer has lost his job after being accused of using data from an automatic license plate reader for personal reasons. Coy Brown, the police chief in Temple, Texas, says the misuse of the flock cameras was detected during a routine audit. Brown hasn't identified the officer in question, but says he's been fired.
This is Jim Ryan. Opponents of flock cameras are trying a new approach as they argue that we're all being spied on.
Thank you, Darth Vader.
Humor. At a meeting of the San Diego City Council Public Safety Committee,
the Emperor is a fan of flock.
A guy in full Darth Vader costume made his tongue-in-cheek argument.
This technology will help us find Luke Skywalker as he traverses the universe in his X-Wing.
A man in San Diego was held for a month after he was mistakenly linked by flock cameras to an attempted carjacking. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Other national stories KSL is following. It's a growing mystery in New York City. People keep getting spotted emerging from manholes around the city. We get more from ABC's Aaron Katursky.
These could be urban scavengers looking for valuables, but the city says sewers can contain numerous hazards, including noxious and potentially deadly gases, unstable surfaces, flooding risks, and confined spaces.
In the latest video to appear, 3 people exit a manhole near New York's Penn Station. Similar incidents were also reported in Brooklyn and Queens. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is up 55 points, that's 0.1%. The Nasdaq is down 148 points, that's 0.57%. And gold is up another $11.30 an ounce, bringing it to a total of $4,690 an ounce. Coming up, some thunderstorms are on the horizon. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Are you a local business tired of juggling deliveries, managing drivers, or sending valuable employees across town? There's a better way. Pigeon Ship. For more than 10 years, Pigeon Ship has provided fast, reliable, same-day and next-day delivery services for businesses throughout Utah. Whether you need a few deliveries a day or hundreds, Pigeon Ship has the network, technology, and experience to get it done on time. Auto parts, plumbing supplies, electrical components, pharmacy deliveries, and more. Utah's most successful businesses trust Pigeon Ship to keep their operations moving. Stop the stress of hiring drivers. Stop pulling employees away from their real jobs. And stop worrying about whether your deliveries will arrive on time. Join the thousands of businesses that rely on Pigeon Ship every day for dependable local delivery solutions. Visit pigeonship.com today to schedule a call and see how quickly Pigeon Ship can streamline your delivery operations. Pigeon Ship. Avoid the trip. Pigeon Ship. That's pigeonship.com. Pigeonship.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Truck started slow. Battery might be toast.
Slow starts are the first sign of heat damage to your battery. We'll test it, no charge.
Thanks. And if it is dead?
We'll set you up with a new, fully warranted battery, some up to 5 years, and we'll recycle the old one.
Thanks for the rundown. Lead the way.
Get free battery testing, charging, and recycling at AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-762-6565. That's 800-762-6565.
I'm really interested to hear about how your parents talk to you at home, and how do you think they can kind of break through to you?
It's just to talk about it. It's just seriously it's going to be awkward at first, but if you keep repeating it over and over again, it's just going to feel natural.
Keep going, and soon we'll just be able to talk about it.
Talking about mental health with your teens is the power of we in action. Visit intermountainhealth.org/teen mental health.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
We got breaking news here at KSL News Radio. A Utah teen has been charged with the aggravated murder of his mother and brother in Saratoga Springs. Jessica Lyman and her 8-year-old son, Eli Painter, were shot in their home in March of last year. According to official documents, the state is asking the court to allow the teen to stand trial as an adult. Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Devin Lattori.
Debris on the roadway southbound Mountain View corridor at the intersection of 78th South. No lanes are blocked, but there are minor delays. As for our major roadways, they all look clear with no slowdowns between Ogden and Provo. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show August 29th and 30th at the Mountain America Expo Center. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $95. I'm Devin Lattori in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high is going to hit 93. There's going to be a few more pop-up thunderstorms this afternoon. Pretty much the same on Tuesday, and then it's going to get a little warmer on Wednesday with a high of 95. Right now, though, it's 84 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSL.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
This is really a sad, tragic story, but a family in Colorado is facing $300,000 in medical debt more than 2 years after a police canine officer living next door, the dog climbed a fence, attacked a 2-year-old girl and her father.
And here's a part that I'm really confused about and also concerned. The canine handler was found not guilty because he has immunity as a member of law enforcement doing his official duties, cleaning out the kennel. So, Greg, I want to break this down and get your thoughts in another edition of Ask the Attorney. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so he was prosecuted there for misdemeanor charges of unlawful ownership of a dangerous dog causing injury. He went to trial. A jury found him not guilty because his attorney argued successfully that he's immune, that he can't be found guilty because he was a member of the law enforcement community doing his official duties. Just as though, let's say, a person gets beat up by a police officer. That's probably a wrong word. But during the course of an arrest, they get assaulted. The police officer hurts them, and the officer is charged with assault. If you're trying to arrest somebody and it's part of your official duties, a jury could find you not guilty. It happens all the time.
Okay, but in this situation, there was nothing suspicious. They were just having a birthday party in the backyard. It just happens that the dog lived next door, climbed the fence, and started attacking. He attacked a 2-year-old who was she was a twin, one of the birthday party honorees, and her dad. And now it's 2 years later, they're still suffering, and they've got this huge amount of debt. And I guess one of the questions is, well, is there anybody on the hook? Because this should not have happened.
No, it shouldn't have happened, and that's why the county prosecuted the officer and said, hey, you shouldn't do this. But a jury said he's not guilty. Now, that's the criminal end of it. And it so far has been the end of it because the family is still on the hook for the $300,000 in medical debt.
Why wouldn't the county have stepped in, or why wouldn't the family have filed a civil suit then?
You know, it's interesting. I thought the same thing. I thought, well, just sue.
Yeah.
And apparently no attorney will take the case on a contingency. The family doesn't have money.
Well,
they're not going to pay $30,000 for an attorney to sue the county. And an attorney, if you go door to door, I guess they have in this particular part of Colorado, and said, hey, will you take it on 20, 30, whatever percent? And no attorney will take the case. Now, I'm surprised at that. I am very surprised at that because the criminal world and the civil world are two different worlds. And a criminal conviction requires a very high standard of proof. It's a crime. You do something bad.
Sure.
Civil world is like you were negligent. You were careless. You should have done something better.
Yeah.
And $300,000 in debt, I mean, to me, I don't know. But I also would say this, to answer your question, why doesn't the county just step up and help anyway?
I know.
Or why doesn't the county, where the officer worked, just say, hey, we'll pitch in. I mean, $300,000 isn't going to break a county, but it's breaking a family in half. It's hard.
Look, they've started a GoFundMe.
Right.
But they could lose their home. They could go into medical bankruptcy. I mean, this is super serious for something not their fault. And I would say even if you found the officer not criminally liable because he was performing his official duties to clean out the dog kennel, which still is a little bit of a head scratcher. He was literally cleaning the kennel, and that was official. But at the same time, you really have innocent neighbors who are now permanently changed, literally permanently scarred, and are facing, lifelong effects, and nobody wants to do anything.
I'm surprised at the dog, the canine. So the officer's cleaning out his kennel, so he lets him out. The dog then jumps a fence, goes to a 2-year-old. Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you think. I mean, imagine at the airport, they've got the police dogs, and suddenly one just attacks some little kid.
Yeah.
And the officer goes, well, I'm here doing drug interdiction and trying to see if that little kid had dope in her backpack. You know what I mean?
They never claimed that there was anything wrong with the neighbor's house.
No, nothing was going on.
Yeah.
The dog just jumped the fence.
Yeah, they're in Castle Rock, Colorado. But one of the things.
Little kid in the world.
Yeah. It happened almost exactly 2 years ago. But look, this dog is named Ragnar. Active duty, is now no longer active duty, has not been on a case since then, has not returned to service. And the
The officer.
The human has resigned.
Resigned, yeah. I mean, I assume it was tough for him. I mean, the dog handler.
Yeah.
And then he gets prosecuted criminally. Of course, he's found not guilty, but, his dog still did something terrible. You can't put that dog back in service after you know what it did. Because if that dog hurt again, man, you've got a great lawsuit. You've got a great thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This dog may have been this heroic animal that has been trained and done a lot of very good things, but suddenly it attacks a 2-year-old for doing nothing. Yeah, you got to take that dog out of service. I'm surprised the officer retired, but maybe he just decided it was something he just couldn't bear.
One of the things that when they were talking about trying to save or rescue the 2-year-old, she didn't die. But she was injured. They had 3 men on top of that dog trying to pry the dog's jaws off of the baby. They could hear her dad heard her leg snap. Heard her bones snap, right?
And, Dad got hurt.
Dad got hurt,
seriously.
too. And he's got a lot of, one of the articles out of Colorado, it describes him like they don't take their kids into big public places. They don't go to swimming pools. They haven't had another birthday party for friends and family because he says, I cannot get to my kids fast enough.
Oh, yeah, and you imagine that. He looks out the window. He sees a dog attacking a 2-year-old. He runs out. The dog's literally, it sounds like dragging the kid away.
Yeah.
And so he intervenes, which he had no choice at. But he couldn't just tear the dog off of her because the dog had her in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to pry the dog's
mouth open,
and that's what caused him so much injury.
So if, like, okay, I don't actually know if this would work, but if there were an attorney who was anywhere in Colorado, could they approach them and say, we will take your case? Does it have to be somebody in the state? Does it have to be somebody in the county?
It has to be somebody that's licensed or that has the ability to practice. No, they have to be in the county. I can practice any county in Utah.
Right.
If I want to go to Colorado and practice, which I don't in this particular case, I don't do this kind of work. But you'd have to be you'd be sponsored. You're admitted. We have a Latin word for a pro hoc vice, but it basically you have another attorney sponsor you and say, okay, I will be your sponsor attorney, meaning I'll be on the hook here. I do it for attorneys from out of state.
I wonder if news stories might bring some attention to that, actually.
Yeah, especially with $300,000 potential. I mean, that's a lot of money. And
then I mean, pain and suffering, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got the medical bills, but you have ongoing stuff. Yeah, exactly.
And scars for a 2-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
That could haunt her the rest of her life. Could be worth millions of dollars.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Mr. Attorney. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, coming up, we're approaching the 25th anniversary of the terror attacks on September 11th, 2001. It's been that long? Yeah. For the first time, investigators have identified another 9/11 victim using genetic genealogy. We'll finish up our show today chatting about this really amazing story and technology where we've come when we come back.
Most families get their financial advice in pieces. A financial advisor here, a CPA there, an estate attorney somewhere else. Everyone means well, but nobody's talking to each other, and those gaps can work against you. Trajan Wealth's family office brings wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning together, not as separate conversations, but as one coordinated system built around your life, your goals, and the people who matter most. Ours is a true family office, not one that refers you out because it's convenient. This kind of dedicated collaboration used to require a 7-figure net worth, but here's the game changer. Trajan kicked that door open. Trajan advisors are fiduciaries, always obligated, always honored to act in your best interest. Unlock your Trajan family office at TrajanWealth.com or call 1-855-TRAJAN-1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Ever miss a segment of Inside Sources or want to rehear a conversation you particularly liked? Subscribe to the Inside Sources podcast. We upload each segment and the full show every weekday afternoon. Go to kslpodcasts.com or follow us wherever you get your podcasts.
Progressive knows that for business owners, vacations hit different. But hey, at least you finally took a vacation. And look at that. You only answered 53 calls, 84 emails, onboarded 1 new hire, and covered for Chris while he's out on paternity leave, and you did it all from a kayak. Because you, my friend, know how to relax. All right, you may not know how to take a day off, but you do know both your personal and business auto insurance needs can be covered in one place with Progressive. So at least that's relaxing, right? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Intermountain Health is a nonprofit health system helping people and communities live healthier lives. Through hospitals, clinics, and caregivers across the West, Intermountain provides high-quality care, prevention, and trusted support for families. Canyons Region President Eric Liston joins us with more.
At Intermountain Health, we believe strong communities begin with healthy people and healthy families. That belief is at the heart of our mission, helping people live the healthiest lives possible. As a nonprofit health system, our work is about more than caring for people when they are sick. It is also about helping individuals and families take meaningful steps to improve their health through preventative care, physical activity, healthy habits, mental well-being, and timely access to care. I have spent my career at Intermountain, and one thing I know is that healthcare is truly a team effort. Our providers, nurses, caregivers, clinics, hospitals, and community partners all help ensure people receive the right care at the right time. We are grateful for the trust our communities place in us and remain committed to providing compassionate, high-quality care while finding better, more proactive ways to support health at every stage of life.
By helping people stay healthy, access care, and support their families through every stage of life, Intermountain Health continues to strengthen communities across Utah and the West. Learn more at intermountainhealth.org. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency?
Someone on every line said they kidnapped my son, and they're demanding $500,000.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
The new Inside Sources.
So some of the things that can happen with technology really, really amaze me. Nearly 25 years after the terror attacks on September 11th of 2001, investigators have identified another person killed on that terrible day.
And the interesting thing about this case is how DNA testing and family tree research was able to make this happen. It's called genetic genealogy.
It is really interesting, right? And I was looking at this ABC article, and they were saying there's still over 1,100 people have not been officially identified.
Yeah.
So ABC News spoke to Dr. Jason Graham, chief medical examiner for New York City, about this.
It's deeply meaningful, and being able to provide answers, even despite the passage of nearly 25 years now, to family members who lost someone as a homicide victim on 9/11 is deeply meaningful, and the families are uniformly grateful.
I would think that as a family, you would want to know if there was anything that remained of your loved one, if there's something that could be identified as belonging to them. I mean, there was no question that the person was killed and that they were murdered 25 years ago, but having that, I don't know what it gives them, but
final
to
closure,
me, it's worth
maybe
something. Yeah, I really do think that I've got to hand it to the authorities that they're continuing to test things and look for things, and that the DNA work and development that we've had in the last 25 years is allowing for more of this to occur. I didn't realize there were still that many people left unidentified.
Well, and the technology just continues to increase, and this whole genetic genealogy is just so interesting to me because we know that it has found other people, maybe in crimes, right, where they've been able to identify family members and then been able to identify the suspect. And it's just, they call it forensic genetic genealogy. I think that's interesting. And they said that there are at least 47 profiles, so they have created genetic profiles of victims. There's at least 47 more that may be ripe for identification using genetic genealogy. So,
wow,
more power to them. And they say they're never going to stop. They're not going to stop. So they're going to keep trying until they have identified every single person. Although I think we know their names.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some fun facts. Today is National Waffle Day. So I love waffles. I think they're yummy, and I have already been getting pitches from Waffle Love about their specials today. So buy one, get one, and they are not a contributor to our show, but they should be.
And we have found a great recipe for gluten-free waffles.
Oh.
And I make them for Rebecca periodically.
That's awesome.
When she's nice.
What do you use for flour?
We have this special,
a blend.
Yeah. But it worked, and it's great.
That's
and
awesome.
they fluff up. They crisp up. They're really good.
Belgian waffles are my favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's also National Peach Pie Day, but unfortunately we don't have very many peaches native to Utah this year. But
we had a terrible spring.
I know, it was bad.
And they were all coming out early. It was great, and then boom, we got this freeze and killed a lot of our.
So it's August 24th. It's my son's birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Josh, who doesn't listen to my show. But it was on this day in the year 79, as in 79, that Mount Vesuvius erupted. So it destroyed Pompeii, but we also sometimes forget it also destroyed Herculaneum, which is right there on the coast. They were trying to get into their ships. And in fact, for a while, when they had excavated Pompeii even a little bit and Herculaneum, and they couldn't find any bodies, and they're like, oh, they all got away. Nope, they found them pretty recently. They were towards the harbor in buildings like it looked like they were trying to get to the ships, and they weren't able to make it.
Ugh.
So it was on this day in 1759 that William Wilberforce was born. He was a British politician. He was a philanthropist. He was leader of the movement to abolish the slave trade. And I love William Wilberforce. I just think what he did was so amazing. There's a movie, it's now a number of years old, it's probably 20 years old, called Amazing Grace, about his story, because he dovetails with the person who actually wrote the song Amazing Grace, who had been a slave captain himself. And he realized what he was doing was wrong, and he basically spent the rest of his life serving in a cathedral as the custodian. But he wrote that beautiful, beautiful song.
Wow.
And William Wilberforce. Okay.
Never even heard that name before.
Well, honey, I'm telling you.
Now I have.
You should. I specifically went and visited his tomb in Westminster Abbey when I was in England. Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. Okay, on this day in 1814, the White House was burned by British troops. And so if you remember when King Charles came recently, he quipped that the British had tried to make some changes to the White House. This is what he was referring to.
He was really very compelling, and
he was kind of funny for
a lot of good things to say. And
straight-laced British
kind
guy.
Of pointed toward a lot of things happening in our country right now. I thought his remarks were very well taken.
There's a couple of more I want to get to before you go to your closing arguments. But it was on this day in 1932 that Amelia Earhart became the first woman to make a transcontinental nonstop flight. And then we mentioned Canada and NATO. It was on this day in 1949 that the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, went into effect.
Wow.
Okay. It was on this day in 1954 that Congress passed the Communist Control Act, outlawing the Communist Party at the height of McCarthyism. And then a couple more. Sorry, I'm almost done.
No. Take your time.
On this day in 1991, Ukraine declared its independence from the USSR. So happy Independence Day to Ukraine. And then in 1992, if you remember this story, it was Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 storm. It hit Florida with gusts of up to 175 miles an hour at the wind. It was very destructive in both property costs and human life. And then it was on this date in 2006.
I was going to mention this one if you didn't.
The ninth planet in the solar system got demoted. Pluto was demoted to a dwarf planet.
Which means what? A planet's a planet.
He's not recognized anymore. He just got really booted out of the solar system.
Little goofy
I don't
planet.
know.
Yeah.
All right, what you got for closing arguments?
So I'm going to pivot here a little bit because we ended with a story about genetic genealogy and the fact that we're looking at things that are found from the 9/11 disaster, the thing that occurred 25 years ago on September 11th, and that authorities there are still finding things and testing things. And I thought to myself, why? I thought for about 10 seconds, because I know exactly why. You hear families, it seems like daily we have, because of a podcast that we're doing on KSL, blips from the Susan Cox Powell family, and that they are still looking for her body. Now, they may never find anything. I know a case that I personally had some involvement in, involving a little girl that was lost down in Utah County, and some boys that had been allegedly involved with her death and disappearance. And I can't think of her name right now, and it doesn't matter. But the family members want to know. They want to find out something. And it's not as though anyone is expecting that Susan Cox Powell is going to call up one day and say, hey, I'm back. I mean, but you do kind of want, I don't know, I've never been in the position, but I've dealt with families as an attorney, as a prosecutor, and they just want that finality, that closure. Mm-hmm. And I don't know even what the closure means, but for what they did in New York, the medical examiner and the testing of the, based on a lot of what we're doing right now with DNA testing and the fact that tree is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, they find something. I don't know what it was, and it doesn't matter. And they can identify it as the DNA from a person's loved one, their family member. And to give that family that news that we didn't give up, that we were still looking for your loved one, we were still looking for your sister, your daughter, and we found something. And that would give the family some solace. It really does. Now, they've maintained their silence and their anonymity and their privacy, I should say, which is great. They should do that. But we continue to, for the benefit of families, and I have to hand it to our law enforcement community, continue to never close the door, never stop looking. And even though it's not an active, manhunt, we've got people out there digging up the weeds. I mean, it's always happening, and we do find things. And I have to hand it to the community. The people in New York did a good job. People in Utah here, still cold cases, whatever you want to call it, they don't give up. And I think that's an important thing. With technology, we're going to find more and more things over the next few years. So,
all right,
good
thanks
for
that, Greg. That's it for Inside Sources. Up next on Utah's New News with Maria Shaleo, Saratoga Springs